Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of The Last Night on Earth. I'm going to get the bot spamming you with links. Please go and check them out. They include all of our social links, all of the places you can go and support us, all of our sponsor information, and all of the various websites that we have discount codes where you can go and get D&D and other TTRPG goodies for discount prices. Thank you very much to Mage Hand Press and Bird and the Storm Publishing who make this all possible. Publishable? Maybe, but possible definitely. And that's me. I've streamlined that intro so much so we can get round and do the important bit, which is meeting all of these wonderful people around the table. Oh, hi, Don. Why don't you introduce us all? Oh, hi.
Hi. Welcome back, everybody, to another week of Last Nights on Earth. This is one of our community series here on the Scratticus Academy. This game's all about improv world building. So unlike a lot of games where, you do a lot of the world building and writing ahead of time as a DM and as players, you prep a lot. This is a lot more about listening to each other and practicing that art of listening and building off of each other. So we're going to be doing that today. And every week we have a couple of reoccurring characters, and then we have some new characters as well. I'm excited to get down to this week. It's the setting is a setting that I think I'm going to enjoy. I don't know if anybody else is going to enjoy it, but I'm going to enjoy it. But a couple of things about the game. Obviously, everything is up in chat and how you can donate and whatnot. About the game itself, the Last Nights on Earth is Monster of the Week, but it's a stripped down version of it. We don't do all of the mechanics of it. We kind of use the mechanics that help us tell a story quickly and as best as we can. And a lot of us are newer to the game, so if you're a fan of the game and we get something wrong, apologize ahead of time. It's just a tool for us to sit down, have a fun afternoon, and tell a great story. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I want to go around and meet some of the new characters and one of the recurring characters here, find out a little bit more about you. So as I introduce you, please tell me who you are, how you're doing today, and then let me know a little bit about your character. And I'll probably ask you some follow-up questions as well. And let's start off with Ray today, as she's coming back to play a character she's played once before. Hi, Ray.
Hi, what's up?
Hey.
I'm playing Nora. She is the Flake in the playbook. She is now, she had traveled to Boulder, Colorado. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she traveled across with the caravan, and she was in Boulder and tried to reconnect with more people because it was just her and a former character called Father Sloan. And so she's been trying to make sense of everything since, the traveling and everything she experienced last time, because she was pretty beat up when she went to Cumberland and had to recover. She was in some pretty bad shape. So she's a little bit more wary now. She's a little bit less trusting of people, but more willing to figure out what is going on and kind of like still have that self-fulfilled adventure that she wants to figure out what's going on, why is this happening. She wants to put those pieces together because in her mind this is like the most important thing to her, is like figuring out the whole big why of everything.
So in our game is a post-apocalyptic American setting. Last time we met Nora, it was very shortly after the apocalypse began. Now things had already fallen apart, but more time has passed since then. You said that she's changed a little bit. When we met her before, she was very much interested in finding out what happened to her family. Is that something that she's given up on, or how's she feeling in regards to that?
She hasn't given up, but she's more like come to the realization that the probability of finding her family is very small. And while she would really like that to happen, and while that would be something that would ignite her world, just with what she's seen and what she's witnessed and what she's been through, she's a little more apprehensive, I guess. But like deep down, she still has that, like, I feel like they're out there. I feel like I might be able to find them.
Okay, awesome. And Since she's been in Boulder, would you say that with Father Sloan, who's kind of become a community, like a leader in this little community in Boulder, has she taken on a leadership role, or has she kind of stayed on the edge, more interested in pursuing her own discoveries?
A little bit of both. She's kind of taken to be like Father Sloan's right-hand man, somebody that, she confides in very heavily and vice versa. But she's not as much of a leader as he is, come up to be. She still is a little bit more reserved. She still has a little bit more of like, I need to do what I need to do, as much as also helping other people. She's kind of like, when it all comes down, if absolutely it ever had to be, she would look out for herself first, if that ever had to be a question.
Okay. Well, let's go over and meet our new characters, and let's start off with Talon. Hi, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing really good. I'm Talon Wycliffe. I am playing Vilma. She is the divine. She's a demon. I don't know how much I'm supposed to say about that right now.
You don't have to say anything you don't want to say, because I know some things. So whatever you feel like sharing, tell me. What I'm most interested in is what's she been doing in Boulder, Colorado, and around that area? How has she interacted with the community of survivors there? That's probably most relevant to our game right now.
I'm going to say that she is feeling rather distant from these people. She wants to help in general because she feels like mortals in this world are getting the shaft, especially with the apocalypse thing going on. So she is trying to just do whatever she can to help, which is why she is going to the asylum, I assume. Because if there's things eating people, that's something to deal with. But she is feeling a little distant because she recently lost everyone that she cared about when the apocalypse happened, so she doesn't want to invest too much in individuals just yet, keeping everyone at arm's length.
Okay. So how does she present herself? What's she look like? Is it evident to people who meet her that she's more than human?
To a degree, yeah, it would have to be, because her clothing is pristine, like eerily pristine in the apocalypse. She has green and black hair like me. I altered that from the description I gave. I'm cosplaying her. She dresses in high fashion and has makeup done up all the time, and she moves with a sort of eerie grace that kind of seems a little ephemeral or otherworldly. Like, you could just say she's a really graceful person, but it doesn't quite seem in the realm of human. And her eyes are extremely perceptive and cutting, like she's looking into you. She has a pleasant smile.
All right. I will say this, because we've hit 10 retweets on our going live tweet, that means that we've gotten a magic potion. Now, this is kind of a random effect. I just rolled to see what the effect was and randomly who's to receive it. It's actually you, Talon. Your character will receive this charisma boost is the potion, and that, for our purposes, I'll say go ahead and boost your charm by 1 point.
Sweet.
Yeah, not bad. Sometimes they're awful. That's actually a really good one. Okay, so how long do you think she's been in Boulder? Is she new to this community, or did the community that traveled across country come to Boulder and find her already there?
I'm going to say she just traveled here recently, within like a week, somewhere in the range you mentioned.
Okay.
So like, people have become familiar with her. They've started to get a little bit more comfortable around her, possibly because of her soothe and her high charisma. She's very charming.
And you said that she's kind of stayed on the outside. Has she tried to influence or interact with Father Sloan or Nora, who are they've sort of become the leaders of this community?
She definitely would have. She would probably have been even more standoffish with Father Sloan, because she does not appreciate faithful individuals for reasons.
For reasons. All right, great. Okay, well, let's go over and meet Tracy and our last new character of the day. Hi, Tracy. How are you doing today?
Hey, Don. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you.
So
So tell us, who are you playing today, and what playbook and whatever you want to share?
Okay, great. So I'm going to be playing the character of Frankie. She is from the Mundane playbook. So Frankie is a local based out of Boulder. Her history in Boulder is that she owned the comic book shop in the, I guess, pre-apocalyptic world. Um, so she has a little bit of a local charm to her. A lot of people in town know her. So when things quickly went downhill, I think that she maintained a lot of the ties with the townspeople.
Okay. So this is our second Mundane, and Mundane's kind of become my favorite playbook. One of my favorite playbooks in Monster of the Week, because it's that classic, like, this is the character that runs off and like twists their ankle, but also Mundanes can kind of become the heroes of the story too, the way that the playbooks, I think it's really, really clever. So I'm glad that we're having one, because an insane asylum is the perfect place for this playbook. As far as the community goes, has she been with the community, the caravan that came across country? What's her familiarity with, say, Father Sloan and Nora? Had she become very involved personally with these people?
I think that as soon as there's somebody who new that comes into the town, she's part of like the welcoming committee to the town, partially because she wants to express kindness, but also because she has concerns about her own town and selfishly wants to make sure everything in her town is okay and wants to know who these people are.
Looks like we got a new friend.
What's her favorite comic book?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm gonna say that she's a Spider-Man fan.
There's nothing wrong with Spider-Man. All right. So in the post-apocalyptic situation, now that she's part of the welcoming committee, do you think that she has she tried to learn any new skill sets, or is she tried to mostly remain a social skill person?
She definitely is primarily social skills, but in terms of physical skills, back once again in the pre-apocalyptic world, she was really into combat sports. You know, she took taekwondo and jujitsu for fun. So I think that, you know, seeing that things are going downhill, she tries to share what she's learned with other people, while at the same time using it as an opportunity to practice.
Excellent. All right. Perfect. So that's a lot of information for our new characters. Let's go ahead and get into the game today, and then we'll introduce our recurring characters as well.
Also, big thank you to Michael Wayne, who donates a D6 for Celeste. Thank you.
D6. Good. I had that marked down wrong. Perfect. All right. So no one knows where the virus came from, whether it was hatched in some secret military facility or if it was a plague sent to Earth to punish a world that had grown fat on its own corruption. All anyone knew was that Captain Trips first appeared on Christmas Eve 2018, and by February 25th, 2019, the world as we knew it had ended. The airborne virus started like a common flu, but within 2 days, its victims' internal organs began to shut down until eventually their hearts exploded and they died. As of right now, 99.92% of the world's population has died due to the virus and the following collapse of society. America is now a graveyard of rotting cities and ghost towns. Corpses still litter the streets and abandoned homes. Strange psychic powers and wild physical mutations have infected many of those who have survived the initial virus itself. And these mutations they've sort of become a great source of fear, panic, and anxiety for other survivors. Now, there is maybe some hope on the horizon. Throughout America, there are rumors that 2 cities, Las Vegas and New Orleans, have become havens for survivors, large communities. And many are traveling across the country in hopes of finding food, security, and a better tomorrow. One such community was the Cumberland, Maryland community, a relatively large community. Once it arrived in Boulder, Colorado, there was a schism between leaders. Half of the community wanted to go on to Las Vegas. And the other half of the community thought that Las Vegas might be a darker place than they had initially thought, run by cruel people. Father Sloan and Nora stayed behind, and they founded the community in Boulder, an area rich with its own resources, able to sustain a large number of people itself. Now, before we get to the Boulder community and bring everyone together, I want to remind us of first Rutherford. Scratticus, tell us, what's Rutherford look like? Who is he? And when we meet him today, what should we note about him?
Rutherford is a very large man. Rapidly approaching 8 foot, currently around, I think 7'6", 7'7", something around there, always growing as the mutation from Captain Trips blessed him with this athletic body, this great build for hang on a second. Inwells just came in and smashed our stream goal. Thank you so much, Inwells. If you want to give any donations out of that, let us know. Thank you so much. Yeah, but Rutherford is always growing bigger and stronger. Once again, his brand new tunic is covered in blood once more. As last week we ended up in all sorts of trouble, and there was more blood, and there was something to do with wolves and bleeding people everywhere. People bleed. They bleed so much. You know, they just bleed everywhere. It's horrible. His face looks mostly human, but shaggy and hairy, like sort of long curled hair, which sort of meshes into his sideburns. But his face still looks very human, except for some tasteful fangs.
And you mentioned bloody. I know that some of the blood on him right now is his and some of it's other people's. How is he doing health-wise right now?
Oh boy, that is a question. That is a question and a half. Rutherford...
I know the answer, but I just want everybody...
Oh, you reminded me as well. Rutherford is unstable. They have taken 4 harm, which means they are 3 harm away from dying.
All right. So, with that said, our story today is about the end of the beginning of the end of the world. And for months, Rutherford and Celeste have been traveling across America, even as the world dies all around them. They've been fighting to protect the people they meet, and they've been searching for their lost sister, Cassie. Now, Celeste believes that their sister is dead, the victim of minions working for a man or a demon or a creature or something named Randall Flagg. Rutherford, though, believes that Cassie is alive in Las Vegas, where Randall Flagg rules over the largest surviving community in post-apocalyptic America. Last week, Rutherford ran into some trouble outside of Boulder, Colorado, where a group of friendly survivors that he knew from Cumberland were attacked by 2 strange mutants in the woods. These creatures were larger than he, faster and stronger than he. They had dirty white fur, simian skulls, and long distended limbs with 2 joints where a man would have 1 joint. Rutherford and the conspiracy theorist Virgil survived the attack, barely, while the fate of their friends Kai and Lita remains unknown after the collapse of an old mine. So the start of our story today, Rutherford is carrying the dying Virgil down Bear Peak Mountain, hoping to find medical help at the Rocky Mountain Lunatic Asylum, which is a decision that he made. I didn't make that. Rutherford chose to go to the Lunatic Asylum. Rutherford, as you make your way down towards the hospital in the distance, the full moon shining through a cold, clear night sky, I want to note that Virgil mumbled something about a journal in his purple bag before falling unconscious. I think that's an important thing to note because we didn't get around to that. But meanwhile, let's go over to Celeste. So the same night, Celeste, you find yourself driving along a lonely, dark stretch of highway through Colorado's Rocky Mountains. The wind is howling with a fierceness that you've not heard before, and you're searching for something. tell us, what has the past week been like for Celeste, and what's going through her mind right now?
It has been weird for her being on her own. Probably extra careful, having always an eye open on what is around, since there's not a brother by her side, and she will probably struggle a bit to get through the streets if there are cars here and there, because there's no one to push them aside. And she is looking for the way to Vegas, the quickest way to get there, and B, still having an eye open if by accident she stumbles over Rutherford or any signs of him.
How does she feel about the fact that Rutherford left her? I mean, they've been together since the beginning of the apocalypse. They've gone through a lot together. She saved his life and he saved her life. They've argued about Cassie, but did she ever think that he would run off on his own?
She didn't think about it, but in the end she is not surprised, and she gets why, because in his shoes she might have done the same.
Okay.
So she's not really angry. Still a bit sad about it, obviously, but no big anger from that.
Well, it's dark tonight and it's been a long trip. You're not sure if you can catch up to him. You've been trying, and you're a better driver than he is. You're a better navigator than he is. He went on foot. So you've been catching up. You think that he would have come through this way. It makes sense. But you're not sure if you'll get to him before he reaches wherever he's going. Do you think she knows that he's going to go to Las Vegas? Do you think she knows that deep down?
That's the way where he goes, and that's the way where she's going as well.
Great. So before we start here, I do want to say that it looks like within Will's donation, I have 8 rerolls.
Oh, goodness.
Is that right?
8
Is that what
rerolls
happened?
Game.
and
Guy.
and a d6.
And a D6?
I did 29. 24 divides by 3 nicely to give 8 rerolls, leaving £5 for a d6.
Okay.
And we've got some more stuff. Yeah. Everyone now has at least 1 reroll. That one just came in, so now Celeste and... No, okay, so everyone has a reroll. Celeste and Nora also have a d6.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
guys.
Thank you, guys. That's wild.
If he
All
has
right.
a bunch.
Vicky, roll me a cool check.
Okay.
So for anyone watching, we're playing Monster of the Week, which is powered by the Apocalypse. And the basic idea of rolling is if you roll less than a 7, so if you roll 6 or lower, it's a bad thing. It's a failure. If you roll 7, 8, or 9, it's a good thing, but with consequence. If you roll 10 or higher, generally, that's a very good thing without consequence. It's a dark night, and you're a good driver. The moon is shining down, providing a little bit of light. But as you turn the corner on this Rocky Mountain highway, you almost slam into a car that you hadn't seen just down below the bend. You are able to pull your wheel closed. So you swerve around, your tires screech, and you stop. You see this car's lights, the headlights are on.
Do I see anyone in the car?
Not in the car, but you see someone sitting on the hood of the car looking down over an overpass. Now you're up high, the elevation's high. If you were to go over the rail on this overpass, it's a long drop down the side of this mountain.
We're just in town. Quick, get behind the building.
What would she do? She would honestly stay in the car and try to move on if possible. She's not going out there on her own. She has
Roll,
one goal, going to Vegas. The only thing that would stop her at the moment is Rutherford, I guess.
roll me a sharp check. You start to roll off slowly. You can see the silhouette in the headlights, not able to really make out the features in the dark. You can tell that whoever it is has turned their head away from looking out over this overpass towards your car. You have the sense that they must have seen you, or they must see you now. There's something vaguely familiar about them. They're small. Maybe a woman or a teenager.
She would slow down and stick her head out, quite unsure what to do. Maybe. No, she will call out, like, do you need help?
No, I'm fine. I've just been waiting for you. You know the
What?
voice immediately.
She will stop and she will get out of the car and slowly walk over.
Do you take any sort of light source with you?
She will have her flashlight with her.
You step out of the car off to the side. The headlights on her car flicker for a moment and then steady again. And you shine your flashlight on her. You see it's Cassie. Looks like your sister. She's in a wedding dress. Her veil is off. She's got it sitting in her lap. And she's kind of sitting with her hands resting on her knees, looking casual as she kind of looms over this overpass.
I will stare at her for a bit and then ask, how are you holding up?
Can't complain. Better than most. Found good people. They've taken good care of me. It's taken you a long time to get here.
You know that I don't like the people you're hanging out with.
You don't know them. You haven't been here.
I haven't, but I know I can follow my guts. And what I learned so far, they are dangerous.
Well, it's a dangerous world, Celeste.
True.
Can't be weak anymore if you want to survive. Have a seat. I've got half a bottle of wine left if you want to share. You can see that she's holding between her legs a bottle of red.
I will sit next to her.
Your sister's younger than you are. Has Celeste, does she believe that her sister understands the way the world works, or is she still barely an adult in her mind?
The second one. She's still her little baby sister, so what she would give her a bit of points like, hey, in this world, in the last weeks, everyone would grow, Although she's still not really sure if this is her sister or if this is something Flag is doing.
She gives the bottle a little shake and offers it to you.
I will take a sip. I know you will not like what I'm planning to do, but I would have one thing. Could you keep an eye out for our brother, that he's safe?
He's safe. He's close. I've come here to wait for you and to take you to him, and then all of us can be together again.
You know that's not the way it will be.
Why?
I can't follow your way. And if you know me well enough, you know that I'm still not sure if this is really you.
You know, I take a little bit of offense to that. I'm here. How do you want me to prove it to you? I'm real.
How can you be real when you showed up kind of ghost-like right after they took you? What happened?
I don't know what you're talking about. They took me and they brought me to a community, to people. They've taken care of me. They told me that you would come, but I've been waiting for so long now.
I've seen you around the day you went missing. You were by my side.
I don't know what you're talking about, Celeste. But you're making me uncomfortable.
This whole thing is uncomfortable for all of us.
Do you really not think that I'm real?
You know me. I want to understand things, and this I don't understand. And I for sure don't trust him. So.
Roll me a tough check. Roll me again. I'm making you use one of your rerolls.
I will add my d6 to it. So.
Plus d6.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
She tries to slap you, but you sense it coming. You have the ability to stop her if you'd like.
I would grab her hand or her wrist, probably.
You do. You're stronger than she is. She's just a girl. She doesn't feel unusually strong. Her wrist does feel warm, and you can feel the rough fabric of the wedding dress, the sleeve of it, brushing up against your fingertip.
I will hold her wrist and look at her. You need to get out of there.
Looks like we got a
If
new
you're
friend.
real, which it seems like, you need to get out of there and out of his grasp.
I am real, and I'm not there. I'm here right now with you.
And get in the car and drive north, away from here.
That's not what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to bring you and Rutherford with me to Las Vegas, where we can be a family again. And just so you know, I love him. He's the greatest man that I have ever met. I've never had anyone care for me, not even you, like he does. And he loves me too. You don't know anything.
He's giving you orders to do things.
He's a leader. He's saving people.
I've seen the evil he's doing. That's not what I want you to be around.
Honestly, he talks about you so much.
Which is
It's almost like he's obsessed with you. I don't get it. I really don't.
me neither. I don't want to be even on his radar. If you want to have us all together, pack your stuff. Go home.
Here's your lesson plan.
I will find Rutherford, and let's try to get back away from him.
Unfortunately for us both, that's not an option. For you or for me. I'm sorry. Roll me a tough check.
This one, let's go.
You're holding her wrist. You can feel, because your thumb is pressing up against her vein, the quickening of her pulse through her wrist. There's a little bit of sweat there. Feels real. You feel something sharp in your leg, and when you look down, you see that in her other hand, she's holding a needle.
Great.
She pushes slowly in. You feel dizzy. You feel the world swimming around you.
Good. Anything I can still do?
Absolutely. What do you do?
I would use my flashlight and try to swing at her to knock her out.
Roll me another tough check.
Wow, all this gold is for me? Thank you, you guys.
Re-roll that for me. And subtract a d6.
Also, Don's just been gifted another D6 from Levi Phipps. Then there's another one from C, and then Michael Wayne is also coming with another 2 for C, so C now has 3 D6.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. And thank you, Don.
You swing the flashlight at her, and this time she reverses her grip, the one that with the wrist that you're holding, and she catches the flashlight. And as the world goes dark around you, you hear her say again, "I don't get what he sees in you." And then everything goes black.
Great.
We're going to cut away from this scene here, and we're going to go to outside the Rocky Mountain Lunatic Asylum. Nora, Vilma, and Tracy. Here's what you would know, and you can tell me why you would all find yourselves here this night. There are missing people from the Boulder community, and Nora, you would have been able to track them here. A missing family, the Chinooks, Lisa, Tad, Jeremy, and Jeffrey Chinook. So Lisa and Chad, the parents, Jeremy and Jeffrey, the teenage boys. A farmer named Chad Thompson. Another farmer named Logan Redlake, who is a Shawnee Native American. A dentist named Dr. Eugene Garner. And Father Sloan himself, the leader of the community.
It's like the whole
They've gone
community.
missing all within the past 24 hours. So, would you all be together? Do you have any questions about the situation that I can answer before we get started? And also, I know Ray, you have a thing too, so we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. I personally would probably be out amongst the people trying to ask around. I've got my little sketchbook, which is definitely overfilled by this point, but she's using like every scrap inch she can find. But just kind of asking around and trying to figure out and track down where Father Sloan was last seen, who might have seen him, anything about it. That's like her number one priority. Even though other people are missing, she's very fixated on like why Father Sloan and where he is.
Before we continue, we hit 20 retweets, so that means another random potion and a random roll. This one is, oh, yeah.
We actually have 2 because we hit our sub goal as well.
Oh, perfect. Let me go ahead and roll both of them right now.
We're smashing all the goals today. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Right? What a way to wake up at the beginning of the week.
Oh, man. All right. So a couple of things. One of these is for Talon. Your character has gained a prehensile tail.
Sweet.
So I don't know if this is something that maybe she usually keeps hidden or it's new to her, but whatever it is, we'll give it a function. So however you want to use it functionally, I'll give you +1 to any roll where you use your tail.
Okay.
The other one,
it could just be something she's had since I haven't even appeared yet. So
yeah, that's right.
part of her demon thing.
And maybe she keeps it hidden, maybe she doesn't. That's up to you. Think about that. Tracy, the other one's for you, and I like this one.
Oh boy.
You've had an insatiable appetite for days. So we now find ourselves outside of the Rocky Mountain Asylum, and like I mentioned before, the wind is howling. It is a cold night, clear, full moon above, but cold. Ray, you've been kind of trying to take care of the community. Are you all together right now? Have you all come from Boulder? It's about a 10-mile trek from Boulder to the asylum.
I would say there's probably only a select couple of people that I would have brought with me. The people that I feel like could have handled it more so than others, or others that were just generally interested in coming along. But I don't think it's like everybody who was in that caravan. I think most people stayed back and are trying to, keep things together in that community.
And Tracy, why would your character have come along? Why would they be here?
Frankie is definitely very concerned about the missing people. She's quite protective of her community in general, and as soon as she knew there was an issue, she felt that it was something that she wanted to take part in finding a resolution. And I think on the way, I don't know whether it would be Nora or whether it be somebody else, but Frankie definitely doesn't want to travel alone. She's a very social person. She needs to have other people there. So I feel like Nora might not be as into it, but she would definitely be clinging on to somebody in the group that are making their way to the asylum.
Okay. And then Talon for Vilma, why has she come along, and how is she interacting with Nora and Tracy as she comes along?
Like I said, she definitely would have interacted with Nora, probably more with her than with the father. And since Frankie seeks people out, especially new people, she would have interacted with her first. So that's where that interaction would have happened. And she's 6'2" and like a mild bodybuilder. Like, she has muscles. She looks like a bodybuilding model. So it's kind of weird how ephemeral her movements are. So she seems very capable. She's also really strong. And she is actually extremely concerned about the well-being of this community because she smells the schemes of the people. She's opposed to the powers that she doesn't like anything that is that they're doing. So she would definitely want to be involved with finding out what's going on and putting a stop to it. So she would have volunteered.
All right. So Nora, let's go ahead and roll you have a move, right?
I do. Connect the dots. It says at the beginning of each mystery, if you look for the wider patterns that current events might be a part of, roll plus sharp. So I'll do that first. Oh, okay.
10 is good. So you get to hold 3, and you can spend 1 point. So you have 3 points now at any point during the story today to ask one of the following questions. Is this person connected to the current events more than they are saying? When and where will the next critical event occur? What does the monster want from this person? Is this person connected to previous mysteries we've investigated? And how does this mystery connect to the bigger picture? So at any point, you can kind of stop me, and I'll give you an answer with context as well in the story, too.
Cool. Awesome.
So right now, the 3 of you have come around the mountain, Bear Peak Mountain, and you've come to this old, dilapidated, rundown building, the Rocky Mountain Lunatic Asylum. And you can tell from looking at it as you have pulled up into the front in a car that it's been abandoned for a long time. There'd be no reason to think that anybody would be here, no other cars parked here, except for one reason. As you sit there, the 3 of you, you can see a single light. It looks like maybe a desk lamp or some sort of dim light through one of the windows on the first floor in the front of the building. And for a moment, you see what passes as a shadow, a shape, a movement across that window, and then it's gone.
Okay, my character has perceptive eyes. Do I get any more detail than other people would?
Let's see what perceptive eyes says. Roll me a sharp check.
It's just a descriptor. I don't know if that has bearing on this game, though.
Well, that's fine. Roll me a sharp check. It's a large shape. You can't get a lot of details. It moves so quickly, but you're pretty sure at a guess it's larger than you.
Has anybody seen that? Was I the only person over there? And I'll kind of just turn to them.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Whatever it is, yeah, don't like it.
Was its shape similar to anyone that's missing, or was it bigger?
I mean, can I based on what I saw, does it look human, or does it look something like, even though it was tall and stuff, does it look human, or did it?
It's hard to tell. As a silhouette, it's hard to tell, and it moves so quickly. But you could get out of the car and go investigate further.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of the car.
The rest of you follow?
Yes, but I'm way in the back. I'm probably hiding behind Vilma because she's so much bigger than I am.
Excellent.
As I shut the door, I was going to say, as I shut the door for the car and kind of walk towards the front of the car, I want to turn towards the 2 of them and ask, so by chance, have any of you run into any of these mutants, any of these mutated people before, or how have you experienced this apocalypse so far?
Sounds like a long story. I have encountered these mutants, yes. I don't believe you can be a survivor and not.
Oh, well, I haven't really. So, hoping for the best here. Hoping to keep my streak alive.
I want you to stay behind me then, and I'll start walking towards
unlikely, as that shadow was bigger than me, and I'm pretty big.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay behind her. She's really big. Thanks.
When you leave the car, do you leave the lights on? Do you leave it running, or do you turn it off and take the keys with you?
I'm going to turn it off, but leave the keys in the ignition and all the doors unlocked.
Turn it off, cut the brake lines, take the battery out.
That's right. Are you approaching the door? Are you approaching the window where you see the light?
I want to try to go towards the window first and just like kind of peek in, just like a small peek.
Roll me a weird check.
Okay. Oh no. Oh. I really want to use my D6 on this.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do I go about doing that?
Okay, so if you want to ever roll a d6, I'm going to put this in Zoom chat and I'm going to say it too. You /roll 1d whatever, so 1d6. So it looks like that. And if you enter that into the chat box in Roll20, it'll do it automatically.
There's also a sidebar on Roll20,
right.
and there's a little d20 symbol, and you can just select a die to roll from that.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Sweet.
Yeah. Cool. So that makes it a 10. So with a 10, you're kind of peering up over this window and looking inside. You see a man laying against a desk. You can't tell if he's alive or dead. He doesn't seem to be moving. His arms are kind of wrapped around him. His head is down. His clothes are bloody. You see a darker shape further into the room too, much larger, just out of view of that dim light. And as you're looking, the lights of your vehicle behind you flicker on. The headlights flash brightly against all three of you twice, and then the headlights go out.
I glance back and try to see if I see any movement near the car, or if that was just like a supernatural goober.
Roll me a weird check.
And I'm pulling out my revolver and just kind of staying put while I watch her kind of do that thing. I've like moved beneath the window.
I forgot I get a +2 on this. That's a 6.
That's a 6. Still nothing. You're not sure. You don't see anything. You're not sure. And the lights are off now.
Just kind of stare suspiciously at it for a while.
I still have my revolver out, and I'm gonna look over to her and say, Vilma, I think you should probably try and go get the keys. Because I left the keys in the ignition, so I'm worried about someone stealing the car now.
All right, I will start strolling confidently towards the car. I will draw my hand to the side and pull out my razor whip from nowhere. It is an ivy sword made of green fire, and my tail lashes out from under my dress.
So
and I'll walk towards the car.
Super chill, you're walking towards the car.
I think when she did that, I became suddenly a little bit terrified of her, and I'm clinging on to Nora a little bit more now.
I was just gonna say, I'm like looking from like over to her and then over to Vilma and then back and then kind of like trying just to like put the pieces together because it's the first time I've definitely seen this too.
Yeah.
I will get over next to the car and just use my tail to reach in and snatch the keys out of the ignition while looking to see if there's any obvious being in there.
Roll me a sharp check.
Great, I'm awesome at those.
You open the door, it creaks. It's old rusty metal now, it's cold, it's not been treated well, this car. You reach in, looking around, you don't see anyone inside. You pull the keys out of the ignition. You can hear the jingle of them as they kind of bounce off of the bottom of your hand. The wind howls all around you, but you don't see anyone.
Just kind of scoop them back with my tail and take them into my hand and just kick the car door closed and saunter back, putting the sword back into its extra dimensional space. but kind of just disapparates.
Scratticus, roll me a sharp check.
Scratticus is nervous.
Vilma comes back with the car keys. Is the sword doused or the sword still out?
I put it away.
Put it away.
As I walk back, or whatever.
She comes back to the two of you, the car keys in hand.
Hold them out.
I'm gonna take them and throw them in my backpack, just kind of like haphazardly, like open it, throw them in. And I still got my revolver out. Is the door like close enough to me where I can see if it's like open or locked or anything?
Yeah, you could go over the front door of the asylum, which is a double door, large, old, archaic, rounded handle, that kind of like almost the metal knocker handle. It looks much more gothic than any modern building really should.
Cool. I'm gonna try and go to the door and like jiggle it to see if it's like open or anything.
And you pull on the handle to kind of see if it's open, and the door swings, creaks loudly, a long groan. Not only was it not locked, it wasn't even quite all the way closed. Inside, you can see a dark lobby of this single story but large compound structure.
Are you okay in there? And I'll just like kind of push the door open a little bit more to like make it obvious that people are coming in.
I'm interested. Tracy, what are you doing as she approaches the front door here?
I'm feeling a bit torn right now. Like, Frank is having a hard time distinguishing between this fear of what's going on inside this creepy dark asylum, and also this little bit of fear of Vilma after she showed herself. So I think she's kind of having this battle of like, which is worse, the big scary lady or the dark scary thing? But she's reminding herself of the importance of saving the people, and maybe even whispering to herself like, doing it for the people, as she looks around the corner of the door to kind of peer inside over Nora's shoulder, but definitely still letting Nora take the lead on this one.
Frankie can roll me weird.
Oh boy, my worst thing. Oh, good start.
You look around the corner and it's dark inside. You can see what looks like the dim glow of a light through maybe a hall. You can just make out the color, the warmth of the color of the light, probably from the room that you could see through the window. And the both of you, as you're standing there kind of looking in, there's a sound. That sound is a large rumble. It's Frankie, it's your stomach. You are starving.
I'm going to kind of quietly whisper them. Did either of you bring any snacks by any chance? I'm feeling a little peckish.
I'm going to turn around, like kind of like almost in the "you've got to be kidding me" look on my face, and just reach in my backpack and like throw her. It's like some mushed up, crackled granola bar that who knows how long I've had it in there, but I know it's in there, so I'll just toss it to her and say, if you're gonna eat it now, stay outside. Don't crinkle in here. And I'll wait. I'll wait here if you need to eat.
I do, thank you. And definitely when I open the package, there is a lot of crinkling. It is a noisy affair. That was for the best.
And I think that's a great time to cut away from this scene and go to Rutherford.
Snack break.
Snack break. Rutherford, you have brought Virgil into the asylum looking for help or anything. Obviously, once you get inside, you can tell that it's abandoned. But you do find that the electricity still seems to be working. That's still attached to a grid somehow. What room would Rutherford find himself in the first floor? What would he be looking for?
Well, I am looking for a doctor's office or perhaps the medicine storage. I don't really know how this works, but I understand if you hit them with the medicines, then they get better, right?
That Sharp is not Rutherford's best talent. Yes, all right. So you find yourself in the office of the chief alienist. This is a lunatic asylum, so this is to treat people with mental health issues. And even the name Rocky Mountain Lunatic Asylum, that's not an appropriate name for a mental health facility, even in the 1960s, which is once you begin exploring when you find out that this place was last open. Let's say that you find the office of the chief alienist, Dr. Terrence Yasmin. This is a small office with a desk and filing cabinets that have been emptied out largely. Roll me a sharp check. And also tell me, with Virgil being unconscious and in such bad shape and you not finding any immediate help, what does Rutherford do with Virgil?
I don't really know. I guess I'll just sit him somewhere. Maybe lay him down somewhere. Perhaps there's a desk. I'll lay him down. Sick people like to lay down.
All right. You lay him down up against the desk.
Oh, we are rolling well today.
You don't find any medicine. You do find, just like throughout much of the building that you've explored, what little you've explored so far, graffiti. It's obvious that squatters have been here, probably stayed over. You see signs, some artistic, some nonsensical, some disturbing. And here on the wall of the chief alienist is a painting, spray painted. It reminds you of something you saw earlier in the night. 6 squiggly lines with some details, sort of like the arms of a squid, with a star in the middle, like a body, and 6 dots between each of the set of arms. And you see that painted onto the wall here, just as you saw it carved into a tree earlier in the night.
I still don't know what this means, but it's familiar. Maybe it hides the safe, and I'll try removing the painting to see if there's anything behind it.
It was a spray painting on the wall.
Oh, I see.
But if you're, but go ahead and roll me a cool check. And also, you just got another re-roll come in. Yeah, you saw.
I did, and also thank you, Ed, $25 Patreon for 10 months in a row. Thank you so much, dude. It's an incredible amount of support. Okay, so sharp check, right?
Mm-hmm. Cool check. Give me a cool check.
Cool. Oh boy.
You don't find a safe or any sort of medicine. Probably this place has been looted.
Looks like we got a new
And it just seems like no matter what you try, you've not had very much luck. It's at this point that you hear what sounds like voices outside, maybe out in the hall where you came from.
I will do my best to go into stealth mode. And I will...
All right.
Actually, hang on a second, because I just took a new move. Because, no, I will hear the voices and think, maybe this will be help, and I will head outside, and I will charge into immediate danger without hedging my bets.
This is a new thing you can do.
Yeah, after so many moves, you have to start taking from another playbook.
So read me this move here.
So what could go wrong is the name of the move. Whenever you charge into immediate danger without hedging your bets, hold 2. You may spend your hold 2, inflict +1 harm, reduce someone's harm suffered by 1, or take +2 forward on an act under pressure roll.
It'll be very helpful for when one of us shoots the other.
All right. I'm gonna let you make one more sharp check here, Rutherford.
We got this.
You you step out into the hall, following back this narrow hallway, several doors, other offices that have completely been cleaned out. This is the only one that still had a remaining desk or any sort of paperwork or anything inside that you haven't fully explored yet. But you head out towards the voices, and you come out back into the lobby. The doors to the asylum are open, and standing there, eating a snack and talking about being quieter about eating a snack is are two women, Frankie and Nora. What's Frankie look like right now as she's eating? What's she dressed like?
Frankie's definitely wearing she's wearing like a graphic t-shirt. I'm gonna say they'll definitely have some sort of comic book character, probably. We'll go with Spider-Man. She's sticking with the Spider-Man theme. She's got very loose fitted pants. Everything's looking really scraggly, like she hasn't changed in a while. Her hair is just like kind of thrown up on top of her head. She's wearing glasses. Just looks like she could just generally do with like a shower and change. And she's got a big smile on her face while she's eating a snack.
Frankie, roll me a sharp check. You see him before he sees you, a large, almost 8-foot tall, beastly shape in the shadows, stepping into the lobby from a hallway where that light came from. You've said already that Frankie hasn't seen Mutant before. That's correct, right?
Yes.
So you see this, for lack of a better term, werewolf, the shape of it, yellow eyes gleaming in the dark, step out towards you. And before he sees you, you see him. How does Frankie respond to that?
Very gracelessly, she screams, falls backwards onto her butt, and her snack goes flying out of her hands.
No, the granola.
Not the granola!
What? Are you okay? What is it? What? And I'll turn around to try and see if I can also see what she saw.
Rutherford, at this point, what do you do? And what can she see?
Can I see who they are?
You can see the silhouettes through the moonlight shining down from above. You can see the reflection of the t-shirt. So you see the Spider-Man tee on Frankie as she kind of falls down and screams. You can see the shape of Nora. And if Nora steps into the building, you'll be able to make out her face as well and recognize her.
Hello, are you friends? Nora, right?
Yeah, that Rutherford? And I'm gonna run up to him and I'm just gonna bear hug him.
Yes. Look, I am Nora. You understand medicine, right?
A little. I mean, I think I could help maybe a tiny bit, but I don't know too much.
Okay,
Why?
okay,
Are
well,
you here with people?
Well, yes, but also I am also bleeding quite heavily. But the poncho is hiding a lot of it, I guess. But also there's someone in there who I think may be dying.
I'm gonna turn back towards Vilma and Frankie and say, "It's okay. I met him before. I'll explain in a minute. You both need to follow me." And
You sure he's not eating people?
I don't think he's eating people. The last time I saw him, didn't eat anybody, didn't want to eat anybody. But either way, he said that there's some guy and he might be dying, and I think we gotta help him.
I try not to eat people.
And you have medical training.
I'm gonna take like a deep, steadying breath and pull myself up to follow Nora, but I'm definitely really nervous and hesitant right now.
Pat you on the shoulder. Worsening
Yeah,
the situation.
I'm just gonna follow
Actually,
Rutherford.
no. I'm going to quietly and calmly say, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to help this person, and everything will be okay. and use my soothe ability.
Excellent. So, do you want to read your soothe ability out for everybody?
Yes. When you talk to someone for a few seconds in a quiet voice, you can calm them down, blocking any panic, anger, or other negative emotions they have. This works even if the thing that freaked them out is still present, as long as your voice can be heard.
Also, Don, Ed used his Patreon donation to give another random potion.
Excellent. I'll go ahead and roll that. So, describe to me how you're all entering into this dark asylum, and I suppose approaching the office of the chief alienist, which still has a desk lamp light turned on. You can see the light of it shining dimly out into the hall.
Oh, well, I will lead.
I'm just,
I'd be like,
Yeah.
look through here. I was looking for medicines in this alien's office. But I couldn't find anything except for paintings.
can I follow into the room and try to maybe look as well to see if I can find any medicine?
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody heading into the office. Anybody who is anybody staying outside?
I'll stay out. Stand guard at the door.
Stand guard.
I want to head into the office, and I also want to use my oops skill here. So, which is, if I want to stumble across something important, I tell you, I'll find something important and useful, but not necessarily related to my immediate problems.
I love this game.
So good. It's so good. So oops, and I'm pretty sure you don't make a roll. That's just something that happens. Yeah. So yes, absolutely. Ray, go ahead and roll me a sharp check.
Okay.
As Nora and Frankie go into the office with Rutherford, and you'll see Virgil here. He's a scraggly man. Looks like he probably hasn't shaved or showered very much recently. Probably anybody who's been, I guess, Nora, you would know Virgil lives on the outside of town. He used to run the dispensary.
Yeah.
The dispensary outside of town. He interacts with the folks in town every once in a while, but he's kind of a kook. And so you recognize him there. You're going around looking for medicine, and I'm going to use, because I can.
Oh no!
Go ahead and re-roll that sharp for me.
Again. Oh no! Okay. Oh.
All right. That's fair. So you do. It's at the bottom of one of the cabinets that used to have probably files on the patients here. Now the files have been removed, although the folders are still present. However, when you open the cabinet, you hear the rattle of something. It sounds like it's rolling up. And when you stop, you can hear it rolling back. Like it's at the bottom of the drawer.
Can I kind of like brush up the folders so there's more space and kind of reach back and just see if I feel anything?
Feels like a round shape, and you can kind of feel the head of it. It's a pill bottle, you're pretty sure.
Okay, I'm gonna grab it and kind of just, I'm not even gonna like look at it. I'm just gonna like throw it over to Rutherford and be like, hey, I think I found something.
Rutherford, you catch the pill bottle.
Well, I guess I pop it and eat them. Right? That's what you do with pills? Is that what you meant?
Vilma leans in from outside the door. No one answered me before. Does anyone have any medical training? Are we going to be able to help this person?
I have none, but my sister has some.
And I was gonna say I want to look towards him and just be like, oh yeah, where is your sister? What happened?
Hopefully following me.
Hopefully following you? Did you leave her? Did you split up?
Yes, she was going to stop looking for our little sister, so I left her in Wyandotte with a pretty strong Want of better word. Ah, there isn't a better word. With a pretty strong guilt trip to follow me.
I'm just gonna bury my hands in my face in my hands and just. Alrighty then. I hope she's okay, at least. And just.
So
Okay.
at this point, two things. Rutherford, yes, you pop the pills. Do you look at the bottle at all before or afterwards to read what they are?
No, Ray gave me medicine. Medicine makes you better.
Great. Frankie, as this conversation's happening, you trip over something in the corner of the room that was on the ground, kind of buried beneath a piece of plaster that had fallen off the wall. And as you look down, stumbling, you see it looks like one of those circular film reels, like something you'd put into a projector, like old.
I want to hold it up to the others in the room. And also, for the record, do you think I would know Virgil because of him being a local?
I think even if you hadn't met him, you'd at least know who he was. You'd probably recognize who he is, being a local. I would say so.
Okay, cool. So I want to hold it up for the other three in the room and ask, anyone know what this is? And I'm going to kind of like turn it at different angles in front of me, try and see if I can get a better idea of what this strange object is.
Roll a sharp check. And anybody else who wants to check it out can roll a sharp check.
I will also roll a sharp check.
Man, I like these rolls a lot. Man, does it? So here's you're looking at this, and you can take off the case and look inside. You can see the spool of film reel. Vilma and Frankie, maybe this is like, it's not. Is it a movie projector reel? You're not sure. Nobody uses these anymore.
Okay. I think I still want to hold on to, like, how big is it diameter wise?
Oh, 6 inches, I guess.
Okay. So I think if it's about that size, then I want to say, like, I have a backpack on me and I want to put it in my backpack, and then I want to continue searching the room because I'm still kind of hungry and wouldn't mind some more snacks if there's anything I can find.
I was gonna offer, if you don't have a backpack, you could slip it in mine and I'll throw her another granola bar.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll have a little film reel granola bar exchange. Perfect.
At least this time you don't have to be as quiet, at least not so much. So you should be fine. No, like I said, I toss her the granola bar.
And for the record, I'm not. Like, I'm crumpling the whole package and everything and chewing really loudly.
Yeah. That's all I could ever want.
So now that we're all here and gathered, what else are we doing in this room? Are we looking for anything else?
With that, I want to see if I can find like a projector reel, or at least another like couple, whatever she found, see if there's anything else.
You don't find anything else in this room.
Okay.
Been pretty thorough in your search of this small office where most of everything's been taken out. But you do have the rest of the asylum.
Should we see if there's anything else here? Should we try and see if there's any other rooms we can try and get into?
Should we check on this this other hurt person?
If he's dying, probably.
As I pop the pills, can I try and use my unquenchable vitality to try and heal up?
Yes, absolutely. Please roll me. What is it? Tough?
No. God, I wish it was tough. It's cool.
It's cool. Go ahead and roll me cool.
Cool enough to survive.
Oh,
Toughness is better.
You do have rerolls.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a reroll.
Okay.
I'll give him my D6.
Thank you.
No, you're fine. Take that D6. It's so close.
Hey!
Hey!
That's significantly better. So what do you get on a 13 with your unquenchable vitality?
I heal 2 harm and I stabilize my injuries.
So that takes you down to a total of 2 harm, correct?
Yeah, 2 harm. That's all
Yeah.
I've got now. I'm looking reasonably good for Rutherford.
As you're starting to feel better, you're wondering maybe it's the medicine. Do you look at the medicine now? Or have you thrown did you eat all of the pills? I'm just trying to get a full idea.
I mean, I in my mind, if someone gives me
The whole
pills,
bottle.
I wouldn't eat all of them because I know I've been told in the past not to overdose on pills, but also I think, I'm a werewolf, I probably need more than the average person, so I'd probably drink half the bottle of pills, and then I can't see in any world where I'd look at them. Like, they're probably just going to have a really long, confusing name, and I won't understand it anyway, so... Who understands
do you
Latin?
keep the bottle? Do you keep the bottle?
Yeah, it's still got half a pack of pills in it. I'll put it back in my poncho somewhere.
So we'll say that the potion that I just rolled, which was for Rutherford, is going to be those pills, but I'm not going to say what I rolled right now. We'll just keep that a secret. So what's our plan now as a group?
I think we were going to explore the asylum. Tell me, I didn't really pay attention to why I came along with this. Why do you believe that this asylum has anything to do with the missing people?
Welcome to the academy.
That's a
Please
great
take your
question.
seats.
It's definitely unexplored territory, and by the thing we saw in the window, by the way, I want to turn to Rutherford when I say it. Were you down here walking around just recently, or?
No, I've only just arrived here maybe yesterday. I was up in the mountains, and there was some really bad shit going on up in the mountains. There's wolves and werewolves and mines collapsing, and, well, look at this guy.
I think she meant immediately before we met you. We saw a large figure in a window. Was that you? Or is anything else here?
I came straight to the large building, which looked like a hospital.
So, question for Don then: Would Nora inference then that could have been him, or does she? Or
You want to use one of your? Do you want to use one of your things that you rolled?
yeah.
Which question do you want to ask me?
Let's see.
This is connect the dots, which is one of my favorite moves. So we had oops, which is another one of my favorite moves. Connect the dots is another. They're both so good.
Is this person connected to current events more than they are saying?
As you look out through the window, you can see what looks like a handprint from where you pulled yourself up. This is the window that you pulled up and looked into. And as you kind of look back, you can see Virgil laying up against the desk and realize, oh, he's the figure that I saw sitting in here. So yeah, you get the idea that Rutherford was probably the shape that you saw, and that it wasn't someone else.
Okay.
Would Vilma infer that as well from his general size and there being a few things bigger than her?
Yeah, he's definitely taller than and larger than Vilma.
Cool. Well, I mean, I didn't see anything creepy except for both of you, and you guys really aren't creepy. So I would say we at least have to check out the rest of this asylum to see if there's anything we can help Virgil out with. I mean, the poor guy's on his last leg. I don't really want to take too much time and have him leave us.
All right. Everybody setting off together then to explore the asylum?
Yep.
Cool.
We're going to cut away from y'all for a minute, and we're going to return to Celeste. Celeste, you wake up and you are dizzy. It's cold. It's really cold. You've been exposed to the cold. You know what this feels like because you've been a survivor now for several months and you've experienced this kind of cold. There's no snow on the ground. but there is grass, and your face is planted in this grass and this dirt. The moon is shining down on top of you.
I will not move, but I'm trying to listen. Do I hear anyone around?
Roll me a sharp check. And are you just listening? Or are you looking around at all?
I wouldn't dare to move at the moment, so just listening until I'm sure.
All right.
I'm maybe on my own.
So you're definitely outside, but there's some you can see as your eyes kind of come to focus. There's some sort of structure in front of you. It looks like a gate, some sort of metal, and then a building on the other side of it. You can hear the howling of wind less now wherever you are, and you don't feel the wind. You're cold, but you don't feel it ripping at your skin like you did when you were sitting on the edge of the mountain. You do hear the creaking of metal, like the rattling of a fence, something.
I will carefully try to sit up and have a look around. And will at the same time call out for Cassie.
Your voice echoes as you sit up and look around. You can tell that you're in a courtyard of some kind. It's an open air courtyard with no ceiling, but in a circle all around you is a metal gate. This is a thick metal gate, and there's no lights on. On the other side of the metal gate is a circular outdoor half-open hallway with a series of entrances into whatever building surrounds you. You can again hear the creaking of metal, but every time you look towards where you hear it, you don't see anything.
I would stand up and carefully walk towards the building and would try to see if I can see anyone or anything moving and yell out again, Cassie, where did you bring me?
So you can see on the south side of the courtyard here, not that you know which way is south, but it's on the south side, that there's a gate, that the gate has a door that you might be able to open to get out of the courtyard and into the hall or towards the building. As you get to the gate and kind of look around and call out, Cassie doesn't answer you, but roll me another sharp check.
I will use a d6 to add.
It's probably wise.
Definitely wise. Come on, computer.
It's
You can do
just enough to make a 6 into a 7, though.
Thank goodness.
So that means a success with a consequence. What you see is when you look up, it's not on your level. It's up above on the roof of the building, peering down over the edge at you, yellow eyes that glow in the moonlight. Large figure, 11 feet maybe, tall and thin, emaciated, with a face that looks somewhat human, but cheekbones that jut out sharply, and an interior face that's caved in, long distended limbs, 2 joints, their arms as long as your entire body, and at the end of them, those hands, they come into razor sharp talons. Their teeth too jut out of their mouths. Their bottom 2 incisors point upwards almost to the level of their what's left of a nose. They're covered in white fur. For a moment, you might think that this thing staring down at you is like your brother, but it doesn't take you more than a second glance to realize that it's not. And as you see it, it sees you, and the consequence is that it leaps down at you.
Great.
What does Celeste do in this moment?
That is a very good question. Just checking. No, I'm not. She would grab or try to grab her knife because that would be your initial reaction. If it's still there, I hope Cassie didn't take it.
Roll me a cool check.
Can I use a reroll, please?
Is this your last reroll?
I think so.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure.
I think it is.
I've got second to last. We might have got one from a subscription
Okay.
earlier.
Awesome.
Because my Twitch screen is really small. It's better.
You're lucky in that, though you're missing your guns, you do have your knife, and you pull it out. What do you do with it?
Defend. If it jumps for me, I will attack.
You get the knife up just in time as the weight of this thing slams down into you. You will take 2 harm as it
Does
smashes
my
you.
armor help?
Your armor does help with this. How much armor do you have?
2, so I don't take any damage.
So it just knocks you to the ground then with the force of its weight. And with the knife, you stab upwards. You can feel the knife hit against its hide. It doesn't really pierce it, but you are able to roll with the blow and toss this thing off of you for just a moment. Already it's scrambling up to its long limbs, its arms scraping against the metal grate to the side of you. What do you do?
How far away is the building or anywhere I could run inside?
It's not far if you can get through the gate.
I will try to run there because without guns, she will not try to fight this.
Roll me 2 things, a cool check and a tough check.
Okay.
We just got another reroll for Celeste as well.
Thank you, guys.
All right, and give me that tough check.
Thank you, Hawkeye. Good enough.
And I want you to take a reroll on your tough check.
I'm sorry, it's slow.
Oh, that's all right. That's how Roll20 goes sometimes.
It's actually building just the right amount of suspense.
Oh.
So that's even better for you. So
Thank you,
with those, you're welcome. I'm nice. I'm a nice guy. As you run towards the gate to get that gate open, you get to the gate and it's jammed for a second. You can't get it open. You think maybe Cassie or whoever left you here has locked you outside in this courtyard. But when you pull again, the gate does fly open. It almost hits you in the face. You are able to duck inside. I will need one more tough check if you're trying to close this thing behind you.
I will add a d6. Let's see. Come on.
You're rolling a d6 too?
Yeah. At least I'm trying
Great.
to. Yeah. Well, a 10.
You slam the gate shut and you see a bar next to it that you think somebody's probably used before to kind of leverage it shut. You're able to kind of shove it through to provide extra lock to keep it shut. And just as you do, this thing slams against the gate. It knocks you back. You stumble and fall down for a second. It's gnashing its teeth. It's kind of shoving its head through the metal bars as much as it can, but only for a second. Once it realizes that it can't get in, it pulls out, and you see it start to climb up the side of the gate and disappear.
Oh no, it knows parkour.
I'll just take a breath. Still trying to figure out outside, still no view of my sister. Where the hell she dumped me.
No view of your sister.
Then turn around. Do I still have my flashlight, or did she take that as well?
I'll say with the 9 cool that you rolled that you still have what you find is 1 weapon and your flashlight. She's taken them and dumped them inside into this hallway. You don't see all of your things, but whichever weapon you would like to find and your flashlight, you can find here.
I guess it made most sense that my pistol is, it's with me. The rifles I would have probably even left in the car. So.
Okay.
Flashlight on and trying to figure out where I am.
If you're looking around at the building, you can see laying down on its side, looks like a wheelchair, like so you'd seen in a hospital, just laying on its side, but it's covered in debris and dust and cobwebs. One of the wheels is spinning. You're not sure if that's because of the light wind that's kind of coming through from above the outside and whistling around. But one of the wheels of that is spinning. You can see several windows, each of them barred, that lead inside, and several doors that go inside in this circular hallway.
I will put my knife away, get my 9mm out, and move slowly forward, trying to figure out if there's some kind of name, because I have no idea where I am. So, which kind of place, anything, and also keeping an eye open for medicine stuff, since I'm here, and it looks like a place where they could have something.
Roll me one more sharp check. You get to the door, the closest door. There's 4 of them in this hall to you. You don't hear or see that creature that attacked you outside. But as you get to the door, you look at the plaque, you do see the name of the facility that you're at. But you don't find, with an 8, you don't find any medicine or anything particularly useful. But the name is Rocky Mountain Lunatic Asylum.
Okay. So at least it's not Vegas, which is good. I will move on forward carefully, trying to be stealthy.
You entering into the building, or are you staying in the hall outside of the building?
I would enter the building and probably try to see if there's another way outside.
You enter into the building, and the hall is circular on the inside too, except for you can't see outside as much. There's a series of doors. Roll me another sharp check.
I am trying.
You're not sure what you hear, but you hear something down the hall, and you see the flicker of light. It reminds you for a moment of that flicker of the headlights.
I will call out Cassie.
we're going to go ahead and cut away from the scene for a second into our other survivors. You've been exploring, looking for, you said something you could play the film on that Frankie oopsed over. And what you find, we'll say, is maybe like a common hall, a mess hall, a series of seats that people would have sat in, an old TV that doesn't work anymore, even if you try to get it to work. But you do find, like, folded up underneath one of the couches, an old projector box machine that you might be able to get to work and cast up against the wall.
Can I try to put that together while everybody else is doing whatever they are?
I think I want to help you on that.
Do you
I
guys have
found the
any
projector.
moves? Yeah. Do you guys have any moves that you want to use, or are you just trying to kind of puzzle your way through it?
At least for me, just trying to puzzle my way through it.
Yeah, me too.
Great. Both of you can roll me, we'll say, your choice of cool or sharp checks. And Rutherford, while they're doing that, Rutherford and Vilma, what are you doing?
I'm pretty sure this place isn't safe, even though it seems deserted so far. So Vilma will just be kind of disinterested in the technology they're dealing with, and she'll be interested in the result if they get it to work. But she's just kind of listening for any sounds other than us that might happen, and looking for movement in the doorways she can see.
All right. And Rutherford?
I'll be quite carefree in my searching for other places where medicines could be stored. I'll just be scouting about.
You're able to get power to this room like the previous room. Not all of the lights and outlets work, but some of them do, and you're able to get the overhead light on. It flickers constantly, and just incessantly, this sickly yellow glow. The two of you, Frankie and Nora, you're working on trying to figure out how this projector works, and can you get the film in there. Meanwhile, Rutherford, as you're floating around, you hear a voice call out for Cassie from the hall outside.
That can only be Celeste. Can it only be Celeste?
Who is Cassidy? Who is Celeste?
My sisters.
Your sisters, like, kind of perk up.
Oh, so the ones people were asking about before.
Come, we have to find out. Oh,
Will you be okay here?
I can go.
I'll go with you.
I mean, I can go. It's up to you, really.
She has a gun. I'll come with you. She'll be fine.
Okay.
We'll say you step out in the hall and you see Celeste there. She's kind of coming down from the other side. And Celeste, you'll see Rutherford and Vilma, you've not met before, step out into the hall. Both of them, large, imposing figures. Rutherford, larger than the last time you saw him. He's continuing to grow.
I will just freeze. Probably shine my flashlight into their faces.
Yeah.
Vilma's eyes narrow.
It's good to see you're alive.
Yes, and I'm getting closer to our sister, I'm sure of it.
Yes, she's right there.
No, we lost our other sister in the apocalypse.
Ah, yes, you mentioned the second.
We need to talk.
Celeste, you know medicine. There's a person hurt. Perhaps you can help them.
If you need to talk, I can go hang out with Nora and Frankie.
No, it's fine. We might not need medicine now. Celeste knows all sorts of things about how to fix people.
Okay, let's do the important thing first. Nora's here?
Yes, Nora.
Yeah.
Celeste's out here. She can probably fix everything.
Everything.
Celeste.
That would be a feat.
If I wasn't so busy right now, I would come out and say hello, but I'm a little bit busy right now.
Who needs help next to you? I would probably look at Rutherford. Bloodied up.
Oh, I'm only a little bloody. Don't worry about that. Mostly, I'm ruined enough a tunic, which is most upsetting. These ponchos are hard to come by. But there's a person that I met in the mine where the werewolves were downstairs, and he's bleeding out.
We definitely need to talk. Where is he?
We left him in the alien's office.
Vilma will start leading the way to that office.
I will follow.
Sashaying, of course.
Shall I stay and look after Nora and...
Nora has a gun. She'll be fine.
Nora has a gun. Yeah, they'll be fine.
I have a gun, I'll be fine.
Accidentally shoots it.
So you all head back to the chief alienist's office where you left Virgil. Are you talking about anything? Are you catching up on the way there? What's this walk like?
How did you two become separate?
He left me. And I'll give him just a side kick with the elbow.
Eyebrow.
You were being too stubborn.
You're trying to find your sister. Splitting up and having to look for the other one is not the best course of action.
Oh no, Celeste didn't have to look. She knew where I'd be heading.
We don't have to head far.
Where are you heading?
Las Vegas, of course. Ugh.
I have some little bit of knowledge about the individual running that place, and I don't like them.
You know about Las Vegas? Maybe you have seen Cassie there.
I do not know about Las Vegas, except for who runs it, and that I am opposed to him.
Well, he's a demon, so
So that's
a wonderful place to go.
Vilma's also a demon. I have a theory. We'll talk later.
How did you form this theory? Let's talk now.
This is right around the time you get to the alienist's office, and Virgil is laying up against the desk, breathing raggedly.
He's got the blood lung.
I will try my DOY saving thingy, and I will
I'll tell you,
a D6.
adding a D6. I'm going to tell you this right now. You know that this man is going to be hard to save, and that your next action is life or death for Virgil.
Hold on, let me just lay on the pressure.
Yeah, just go ahead and make that roll.
I didn't make that roll. Let's see. It's cool. God, I haven't done that. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
I am sorry if this fails.
Roll your D6.
This will not be enough.
I really hope. I mean, I really do. I'm rooting for Virgil. I like Virgil a lot. I hope it's a 3. I really hope it's a 3.
I really hope it
I don't
works.
even really know Virgil, and I love him a lot.
Do you want to use a reroll?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Sorry.
So just a question on mechanics base. So since she used a D6, would her reroll still add that D6, or would that cancel it entirely?
I say so. I
Okay,
don't see
cool.
a reason why not. So that
Cool.
actually makes it a 10. his ragged breathing slows a little bit, and you're able to you actually are able to find some disinfectant in one of the drawers of the desk here that kind of helps. You're not sure if he's going to make it or not, but you think he has a little bit of time. If you can keep him warm, you get him some water. If you can get him out of here, you think maybe there's a chance for this guy. But he's in bad shape. Rutherford, roll me a weird check.
And thank you very much to Michael Wayne, who uses their in-game currency to buy Celeste another reroll.
Thank you.
Something strange is happening here.
You
Something is happening everywhere.
You felt it as you were kind of having this conversation, and you go quiet for a moment. You start seeing faces in the shadows as Celeste is tending to this man, Virgil. They're not saying anything, but they're all looking at you. And each of them are faces of people that you've met since this post-apocalyptic journey began, people that you've lost. Some of them are the same face again and again, not just one time, but you see Cassie several times. You see Father Sloan there in the shadows. They kind of fade into view and fade out of view and fade into view and fade out of view. And your head is, you've got a headache.
More pills will fix that.
I'm not feeling too good.
You don't physically feel great either, despite your healing, as you know, your ability to heal a little bit each episode as your monstrous playbook, as your regeneration. You don't feel a lack of pain. If anything, you feel more pain now because your head is throbbing.
When he
Did
says that,
Rutherford say out loud that he's not well?
Yes.
when he says that, Vilma will like look to him and just inspect him as carefully as she can.
If you have an ability for medicine, you can roll me, or otherwise you can roll me sharp. Or weird. Either way.
Nice.
Yeah, his pupils are dilating strangely. You think that something's going on.
There is something wrong with you. Your eyes are not acting normally.
Yes, I am seeing things and I have a headache.
I would turn to... I don't even officially know your name, do I? Vilma. Just point to Virgil. Find something. We need to keep him warm. And then I will walk over to my brother and have a look at him.
I'll go look for a blanket or something, or some curtains I can rip off. Anything.
Yeah. Go ahead, roll me a cool check, Vicky, and Talon, roll me a sharp check.
I'm gonna use my reroll on that.
Okay. Oh no.
No blankets for Virgil.
This place has been looted and stripped down pretty well. It's been abandoned for a long time.
It might not even have curtains.
Mm.
That's not...
I'll say with a 10, Celeste, you're able to tell that he's under the effects of some sort of, like, you get the sense that they're, like, either he's been drugged or something's going on just based on the way that his eyes react to the flashlight.
Did you take anything?
Yes, we found some medicine and I took it to feel better.
What kind of medicine?
I pass her the pot.
What is on the bottle?
Sorry.
It's lithium.
She will do a little face palm.
I only took half because I know, despite being werewolf, medicine might not
I was
have.
gonna ask. I was gonna ask too. Half of that pill bottle. How many pills were in that bottle?
Oh, let's roll 1d20.
Oh God.
So he took 4. He took 4.
Okay.
But it's enough. And as you sort of come to this realization that he's probably taken not a lethal amount of lithium, but too much lithium, especially when it's not necessary, we're going to cut away and go back to Jackie and Nora as you are working together to try to get this film projector working. Are you guys talking as you're working? What are you doing here as you're left alone in this mess hall?
I'm casually just trying to talk to Frankie about her interests, things that like, because I've kind of like realized in this whole situation she's fairly new to all the experiences, so I'm just trying to relate to her. I'm trying to get her to talk about things that she really enjoys.
And as soon as Nora opened the door for me, I launched into long tirades about various comic book characters, and I'm currently preaching about how Miles Morales is a better Spider-Man than Peter Parker, and we've been talking about this most of the time. Mostly me.
And I just nod. I just keep nodding and going, mm-hmm, absolutely, uh-huh, mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Awesome. So as we're talking about Miles Morales and how great he is, this question too for both characters, just as a bit of flavor here, are they politically minded? I know, for instance, Nora is a flake, so she's a journalist, right?
Yeah, she studied at the University of Boston. She was a journalist student, and when everything started going on with the apocalypse, she thought that it was like big pharma, government, like experiments gone wrong sort of situation. So that's kind of where she still is with a lot of it.
And what about for Frankie?
I think for Frankie that she isn't happy with how a lot of things are going in the world and in the country. And one of the reasons that she's so invested in comics and one of the reasons that she loves them so much is because it's a form of escapism, because she's so unhappy with the state of everything. So she is politically minded in the sense that she is unhappy with a lot of things, but she doesn't really talk about it too much because she doesn't want to talk about it. She roots herself in the fantasy worlds instead.
And what is it about Miles Morales as she's kind of giving this passionate diatribe about how he's a better Spider-Man than Peter Parker? What is it about Miles Morales that speaks to Frankie?
Miles is more real to her than Peter. Peter is kind of a bit of the unattainable hero, when Miles is a bit more of a relatable person. It's somebody, not maybe that she can necessarily see herself as him, but she likes the fact that he's more human than Peter is to her.
You're having this conversation and working on the projector, and you've got the film reel installed, you think, but you haven't figured out how to get the light on. You've tried several different switches, and it's when the projector is not plugged into the wall that it powers on, and the light shines against the white of the wall on the other side of the room. You see a man there, and the sound box attached to this old machine begins to crackle with sound, with a voice you can't quite make out at first. There's a man sitting in a chair. He's a bald man, large, eats well, older, but not ancient. And he's sitting in front of a desk that looks something like the desk that you saw in the office from before. And when you can actually understand the sound that's coming through the static and the crackle, you hear him speak. Dr. Yasmin, I am the chief alienist here at Rocky Mountain Lunatic Asylum. This is my truth. They will shut this place down soon, and I will be gone. And I hope that when that happens, the horrors that happened here will vanish from history. I came here like many alienists and doctors thinking I could make a difference in these people's lives. But it was the government that brought the people here, that chose who came and how long they stayed. It did not take me long, a month, before I realized a disproportionate number of American natives, specifically the Shawnee tribe, were brought here. Some of them exhibited no signs of any sort of mental illness. Criminal histories, often, but not always. We treated them kindly at first. Then my staff was slowly released until it was all new faces. People I did not know. They were cold. They had their own ideas of how to treat our patients. I regret to say that I took part in experiments that no man should ever be allowed to commit against another man. I regret to say that I was afraid to speak of what was happening here. I remember a boy, Kino, Red Lake. He had come here, barely 18 years old, no criminal history. We submitted him to shock therapy, aquatic submersion. He was starved. The guards beat him. They said he committed murder, but I spoke to the young man many times. And I did not believe he had committed a crime. I believed that this young man was innocent. Yesterday afternoon, Kino murdered one of the guards. We found him in his cell. He was consuming the guard. He was inconsolable. We had no choice but to react, and with violence. The boy did not survive. I have since written my confession and my recommendation that this facility immediately be shut down. And I record this for prosperity, so that if the truth is ever out there, I just want to make sure that no one makes this mistake again. And I am deeply sorry. There's a crackle, a static, and then the light goes out on the projector. And the sound ends.
I am going to turn to Frankie and hold out two in both hands. One has my 9mm and one has like just a bunch of throwing knives. And I'm gonna offer them to her and say, you pick one and we're going to go immediately meet up with everybody and tell them what we saw.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I think we just need to tell everybody what happened in this video. Something doesn't strike me too right.
Okay. Okay. And I take the throwing knives.
Cool. So then I'll put the 9mm like in the back of my pants and just kind of take her hand and like lead us out. Like just letting the projector and everything be as it is. I just want to find everybody else.
And I'm behind you, but I'm definitely pretty shocked by what we heard, and I'm stumbling a little bit as we go.
Cool.
You step out into the circular hall knowing that to get to the office is on the other side of this circle towards the front of the building. Both of you can roll me sharp checks. You hear a sound echo down from the hall behind you in the opposite direction, in the area of the hospital that you've not visited. And then the clang of something, it sounds like a pot or a pan or something metal hitting the floor and bouncing several times.
That definitely spooks me, and I'm still holding on to your hand, but I jump back.
Rutherford, Celeste, is that you guys? And I'm just like kind of like propped up against the wall, just like kind of holding still for a minute.
Vilma?
Both of you can roll me weird checks.
Oh no. Oh.
I'm going to spend my last d6 to give Nora minus 1d6 on her check.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think I got it.
Oh, I rolled it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
6.
Oh no.
That makes your roll a 1. You call back and you look back over your shoulder and you see it there. A tall creature, so tall that the ceiling can barely contain it. Its head is pushed down against the top. Its arms are dragging behind it, one of it scraping against the floor. As it comes into view, you can see just for a moment the moonlight splash across its face before it passes beyond a window and is just shadow again. Its other arm against the wall beside it, scratching the wall. Yellow eyes, a simian, gaunt face. You know immediately that it's not Rutherford or Vilma.
I'm going to grab Frankie's hand. I'm going to take out my 9mm, hold it in my left hand, grab her hand with my right, and try to go back into the lobby or wherever I feel like everybody else went and just quietly like not say a word and just drag her along and like try to go the opposite way of wherever that entity just went.
You're not running, you're trying to be stealthy.
Yeah, very much so.
And how's Frankie going?
I'm really trying hard to play along and not scream, but I think if that thing moves at all, I'm so terrified right now. If anything happens, I'm not going to be able to help myself and I'm going to probably scream and run. But right now I'm holding it together.
Yeah, as we dip around the corner, or at least out of the view as much as I can be, I want to pull her close and like put my forehead onto her forehead and be like, I know this is not ideal. I know this is something terrifying.
Yep, it is.
You need to hold it together.
Okay.
Because more than our lives are on the line. Please.
Okay. And I'm just going to take a second to take a deep breath and try and collect myself.
Both of you can roll me cool checks, but because of the stress of the situation and your weird rolls, you will have -2 to these.
Levi Phipps comes in with a big cheer, rerolls for everyone except Don.
I was going to say, I want to use a reroll. Even with the -2, I definitely want to use a reroll.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Oh boy, okay. I'm going to take the risk and use a reroll as well. I don't know if this is going to go better or worse, but let's find out.
Let's give it a shot.
Okay.
All right. So, Frankie, something about Nora manages to calm you down. You still feel panic, but you're able to keep from screaming when you see its face flash again as the moonlight shines through another window and it passes through that window. It's behind you. You don't know if it's seen you yet. Nora, with a 1, you think that you can deal with this situation, but then you see something else or someone else laying up against the side of the wall. You can't see their face. It's been torn off, but you can see what they're wearing. It's a frock. It's a priest's frock.
She immediately is going to run over to the body and fall on her knees and just kind of like cradle it close and just start crying.
Frankie, you see this now too as she runs over. You can hear her crying.
I think since I've collected myself, it's my turn to try and give her a pep talk. Like, my heart is still racing, but I want to use like her logic to help her. So I'm gonna skid beside her on my knees and grab her shoulders and just say, I know you're hurting, but I think we need to go now.
So I wanna look up at, is this like to Nora, does this like visually look and feel like Father Sloan? Like, is it actually Father Sloan, or is there maybe like a fake manifestation? I know that sounds weird, but she's just kind of like in a state of shock and denial and doesn't really want to admit that it's truly him, but does it feel like a real body?
It feels like a real body. Roll me a sharp check. I'll give you some more details.
Cool.
Oh, feels real.
Okay.
It's definitely a man, but you're not sure. At an instant, there's something different about the clothes. You're not sure if this is the same. Is this the same thing that you saw him wear before? Where's his guns? You don't see the guns. There's questions here. His face, his skin has been flayed. It's impossible. He's unrecognizable. You think that you might, just with a couple more seconds, be able to figure out if this is Father Sloan or not, but then you see coming around the corner that creature again. And you're not sure if he can see you yet, but you have to make a choice here. Are you going to go, or are you going to stay?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Frankie.
All right. And you both are trying to sneak, not run?
No, sneak at first, and then as soon as the opportunity arises, run.
Run. And Frankie, how are you going about? How is she managing now?
I think that my fight or flight instinct has kicked in, and I kind of have flight on the mind. So I'm seeing more the need to run over the need. I'm prioritizing the need to run over the need to be quiet about it.
All right. Both of you can make me, for Nora, let's call it a cool check. For Frankie, let's call it a tough check. And Frankie, I'm going to use one of my remaining rerolls because I still have 5 on you.
5.
Hey, okay, not as bad.
You sneak away, Nora. Frankie, you start running, and once she runs and you're around the corner, you don't see the creature, but you can hear its claws still scraping against the ceiling. You can hear things being knocked out of its way. You can hear what sounds like the ragged exhalation of some sort of breath. When she starts running, Nora, the creature no longer makes sound, and then you hear a thump, 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 and you're faced with the option to hide or to run.
I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run along. Yeah.
So you are both spinning around this circular inside of the hallway, trying to get back to the lobby, the front of the building, and you can hear behind you the sound of things being knocked out of the way. You can hear what sounds like the screech of a bird, but deeper, almost as deep as you would think the bellow of a bear, but with the pitch of a bird, with that piercing quality coming right behind you, and it gets louder and louder and louder, and then you reach the lobby. That sound is coming behind you, and at this point, Celeste, Rutherford, and Vilma, you would hear that sound too get louder and louder and louder, and several seconds later, exploding from the hallway towards the lobby and the office where you are, you would see Nora and Frankie.
I think as soon as I see them, I start like screaming and waving at them like, run, 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 run!
Yeah, like as I'm following her, just be like, we have a problem!
Don, am I correct in assuming that Rutherford is currently feeling the effects of lithium overdose toxicity?
Not lethal amount, but yes. Did you do some web
Oh, I've done some. Yeah. Oh, I've done some work. Yeah.
He has cancer now.
Confusion, uncontrollable eye movements, rapid heartbeat, hypothermia, slurred speech, and heightened reflexes is the ones I'm going to go for as the side effects.
So we'll say I to mechanically +1 to tough, -1 to sharp, cool, and weird.
Okay.
For the rest of, for the remainder of the effects for Rutherford. How's everyone reacting as they explode as this sound happens? Vilma and Celeste.
As soon as they say run, 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 sword is out, and I am moving in between them and where they came from to essentially probably murder whatever is coming.
I would yell to Rutherford, get your friend, and pull out my 9mm and step next to Vilma.
And I don't know what the range actually is on the whip. It says area for range.
Yeah, so it can stretch quite a ways. It's got a good range. Range enough that if something's in the same room as you, you'll be able to use it.
Can I see the creature? Can I attack it?
Not yet, but you can hear it.
Okay, I will ready myself for that.
All right. And Rutherford, what are you doing?
Well, Celeste told me to get my friend. Does she mean Nora or? No, she must mean the person on the table, and I'll make my way over and pick them up.
You scoop up Virgil and you're holding him. Where are you taking him?
I don't know. Celeste didn't say.
Are you staying in the office? Everyone else is out in the lobby currently.
I'll go and join them in the office.
All right. So as you leave the office behind to join them in the lobby, Frankie and Nora, roll me cool checks one more time.
Oh. I want to use a reroll.
Frankie, you had a head start on Nora, and you're still several steps ahead of her as this sound... Oh, you're using a reroll?
Yeah.
Perfect. That was wise. As this sound comes up behind you, but Nora, you catch up with Frankie, and as you shout out and you pass by Vilma and Celeste, finally this thing comes into the lobby. The lobby does have higher ceilings, and as it does, its head extends up full 12 feet. And Celeste, this is the creature that you saw out in the courtyard. You're not sure how it got in, but simian, gaunt face, white fur that's matted to its skin with dirt, feces, blood, can't be sure. Its nails longer than any blade that you've ever held other than maybe a sword. And the sound coming from its toothed mouth is this screech, and when it sees you, it stops making that sound. It stands there for a moment, stretches up full, and if you want to jump in action and take an attack, Vilma or Celeste, then we'll go ahead and start initiative. And the way initiative works in Monster of the Week is I'll let Vilma go first, and she's took the first step forward. When your turn ends, you decide who gets to go next narratively until everyone's had a turn. As a GM, I never have to roll. You just have to roll when I tell you to, and we decide if good or bad things happen because of that.
Right. What I roll to attack, I'm going to whip the razor whip at its legs to try and disable its movement and do as much damage as possible. I have smite, so I have my weapons and my hands actually are considered the monster's weakness.
Excellent. Go ahead and take a tough check then.
11.
All right. I'm going to use one of my rerolls on you. Go ahead and roll that again.
Yo!
I will say very quickly, Don, having the most rerolls is the most fun this game has ever been.
Right? Yeah, it kind of ups the stakes quite a bit. That's still a 10, and so you whip this thing across as it's stretching up. Before it moves to attack, you wrap your razor whip around one of its legs. Its legs are long, and there are multiple knees to these legs, but they are thin too, almost as though this creature hasn't eaten in a long time. And how much damage does your attack do?
3 harm, and I don't know what it being its weakness does. Does that just bypass its armor or something?
Yep, absolutely, yeah. So it does 3 harm. This thing, you pull it down to the ground, and it's kicking its leg out for a moment, but it's already scrambling back up. Its long claws trying to push it back up so it can rise. Who do you pass your initiative off to?
Who moved over with me? Was it Celeste?
Mhm.
Or was it? Okay, her.
Celeste stood up with you.
I will shoot at it with my 9mm. Question is, if it would be werewolf, I would get a +1. Would it count here as well because it's similar?
This is not a werewolf.
It was worth asking.
It was definitely worth asking.
And no, I will not go berserk. I will just see how it goes.
Excellent. I'm going to use one of my rerolls on Celeste.
Surprise.
I love how happy Ray is about it every time.
I do too.
Every time. No, it's so much fun because I'm not used to playing a module where the DM doesn't roll, so we can just make other people re-roll.
It's really
Like,
fun.
it's
and
so much fun.
It's really fun.
perfect for this setting.
And your luck continues to hold. So you fire your pistol twice at this creature. How much harm does your pistol do?
2.
You see its body jerk in reaction to your pistol, but it doesn't seem to slow it down. Are you standing there? Are you kind of holding the line, as it were, with Vilma?
Yeah.
All right. Who do you pass your initiative off to?
I would just yell back, move, 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 and would hand over to Nora.
All right, Nora, it's your turn.
So at this point, am I like with everybody, or am I still like on the opposite side of the room, or?
You and Jackie have just run past the lion, which is Celeste and Vilma. Frankie, sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to try and like duck down behind like anything in the room almost and kind of peek out, and I want to try and shoot it with my 9mm.
Great. And do you have a special move here, or are you just using tough?
I am just using tough.
Great. Take your roll.
Cool. Oh.
You fire twice, and you think at least one of the bullets hits it, but it doesn't seem to slow it down. And even though the whip is wrapped around its leg right now, it's holding firm as it stands back up, and it takes its right arm and it swipes out across its body. I need a cool check from Vilma and from Celeste.
It's -1, right? Because of Oh no, sorry, was Rutherford doing that as well, or?
No, Rutherford, you're still on the other side of the room. You've come from the office with Virgil, so you haven't quite gotten there yet. So you don't have to make this roll.
That's fine. That's
So-
just grand.
So it does it with two arms then, first with its right and then with its left. You're able to avoid taking harm. You kind of protect yourself from the sharpness of its claws, but its hands wrap around both of your torsos and it's pulling you, its arms like this, dragging you back towards it. No, Nora, who do you pass your turn off to?
I'm gonna pass it off to Frankie.
All right, Frankie, you're up.
Okay. What are the stats on the throwing knives that you gave me? And how many do I have?
It just says 1 harm, and then the tags are close and many.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never really used these before, so I don't have a ton of faith in my own aim. So I just kind of want to aim, close to the largest target on this creature, whether it be somewhere on its chest or stomach, but basically just a big target. And I'm gonna just throw it and really hope for the best.
All right, give me tough.
Okay, I have 1 reroll, so I'm gonna spend it because that's bad.
All right.
Okay, that's somewhat better.
So it's pulling both, and I'm going to roll 1d2 here because I like that. It's pulling 1, Vilma, and 2, Celeste towards it. And you throw this one of these blades towards its chest. It sticks in one of its hands and it drops one of them. It drops Vilma. However, it pulls Celeste the rest of the way to it. And Celeste, as you're struggling against this creature before you have your next action, it takes its jaw and you can see its jaw drop open. It's almost like it unhinges once and then unhinges a second time. And then it comes down over top of you right into your neck. You can feel its long teeth piercing you. You can feel its tongue lapping around, almost like it's trying to pull your meat into its mouth. For 4 harm.
Armor counts to reduce it.
Do you have what are your armor types currently?
I have a protective suit, and I buffed it up with my safety first to be a +1 on top of that, so +2.
So I'll give you 1 armor for this, as it's kind of going for the unarmored part of you. But we'll say that the suit with the modifications kind of slowed it down a little bit. It couldn't get all the way in there. So 3 harm. All right. Vilma's free now, though. Jackie, after you finish, you're kind of hiding back behind a desk as well? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna go back into hiding.
That means it's Rutherford's turn. Rutherford, you have Virgil in your arms, but you just saw this creature pull your sister up into the air, and it took a huge bite out of her.
Well, that's not right. I'm a little confused as to why this is all happening, but that's going to make me quite angry. So I'm going to drop Virgil and attack the creature.
Poor Virgil hits the ground, the cold, broken stone floor with a thud. We'll say he's lucky and he doesn't crack his head or anything, but he's on the ground unconscious. And so how are you attacking the creature, Rutherford?
Preternatural speed, I'll explode through the doors, and it's bigger than me, right? So I'm just going to tackle this thing to the ground, or try to, with claws ripping into its back.
All right, give me a tough check.
I get +1 to tough, right?
You do. Yeah, you're able to tackle this thing with enough force that despite its greater size, it does go down and it's on its feet for a second and then it drops. It will say with a 12, you're able to knock Celeste out of its hand. It drops Celeste and Celeste hits the ground as well. You're on top of this thing now. It takes damage, correct?
Yeah, when my claws start raking into it as I take it to the ground, it takes 4 harm.
Perfect. So you think that you're actually able to get through its hide a little bit, despite how thick its fur and its hide is. Roll me a cool check, Rutherford, and then tell me who you turn your turn over to as we start again.
I have no chill, and I will be passing my turn over to Vilma.
As you pass your turn over to Vilma, you're on top of this creature and you look up and you see faces again. You're feeling confused, sweaty. Your head is pounding. Faces in the shadows. Your sister, again and again. Father Sloan, others. The girl, Jessica, the boy, the one who has followed you through America, who's kind of dogged your steps. You see the face of Randall Flagg too, that big hungry smile, and all of them say at once, "Come to Las Vegas. Come to Las Vegas."
I'm trying. Give me a moment.
Vilma.
Trying what? To kill it? Do it better! I'm going to whip my razor sword around one of its hands so that it has some kind of disadvantage and try to pull it taut so it can't use that against him while he's on top of it. That's
Perfect.
Help. Super lot.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll me that tough.
12.
So he doesn't notice as he's distracted for a moment that this creature's about to, you can see one of his hands getting lodged underneath. It's about to basically grab him or shove his claws through Rutherford's stomach. And just in time, you're able to whip that hand around and pull it away.
Do I still do my harm?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The creature screeches again. It's that sound that's as deep as a bear's growl, but the sharpness, the piercingness of a bird of prey. And it stretches up and smashes the top of one of its hands into the ceiling. Some of the plaster from the ceiling crumbles downward. That's the end of your turn unless you're retreating as well.
No, I'm gonna be just like trying to
Hold it.
Getting grappled.
Great. Who do you toss your turn?
Frankie going yet?
Frankie went. Everybody's had one turn. Now we're to the second turn.
Okay. I'll pass it to Celeste.
All right, Celeste. You've just been dropped. Rutherford's on top of the beast.
A, I'm going berserk. B, I will attack it with my knife.
All right, make a tough check and tell me how does she come about attacking this with a knife? Like, what's her goal here? How's she coming at it?
She's just angry. Everything is not going the way she wants, so she's basically just angry and losing it. So, yelling and jumping at it with the knife out.
All right, I'm not happy with that. I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide. So you come down and you're on top of it now. Now both you and Rutherford are on it and you're stabbing. This thing's still struggling. It's hard to pin it down. Every time you push down its left shoulder, its right shoulder pops up. Every time you think you have one of its arms at bay, you realize that its arm has a second joint that wraps around and its claws are constantly coming at you. For the moment, you're able to keep this thing off of you and keep it down on the ground as you stab it with your knife. Who are you turning your turn over to?
To Rutherford.
All right. It's Rutherford. You have another turn.
Yes, I do. And now that I am within intimate range of the creature, I'm still on top of it. Can I still see the creature, or do I just see the faces?
With your failed cool roll, you know you're looking at the faces right now, and you're hearing that voice, that taunt in your ears. You know that the creature's below you. It's not like you forget that you're there, but you are very confused for the moment. So if you want to attack the creature, you'll have a penalty, but you can still do so.
It hurt my sister. I'm going to fight through the voices. I'll go to Las Vegas in a minute. Right now, I need to try and eat this thing's throat. So I'm going to try and eat its throat with my teeth.
All right, roll tough -1 instead of +1 this time.
Oh no. I've got some rerolls in a d6. Okay. I'll take a success with nothing. That's fine.
With consequence, the consequence here is though how much damage does your bite do?
5.
So as you tear into this creature's throat, you can feel its meat now in your mouth. Roll me a cool check.
Oh, you know I'm not good at those.
Don't eat it. It's a bad plan.
Nom 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 nom.
Use a reroll.
Rutherford's.
I do have a reroll. I'll try a reroll. I'll try a reroll, but I'm notoriously bad at cool anyway. Yeah, no, dice are spoken. Nom nom.
Rutherford swallows. You get some of this. You feel it pass down your throat into your stomach. You feel its blood in your eyes and your face. You can smell it. It smells not rotting. It smells like a meal. It smells like dinner. And those faces are gone now, and it's just you and this creature, and it's snapping back at you. And with an 8, I need you to make me one more tough check here.
Still -1?
No, this is just, you can have +1 again to this.
Okay.
Your attention has changed.
Oh, sorry.
How's that possible?
It's because I put plus in. That's actually 8 + 2, 10, but I can re-roll it if you want to see it.
No, I see it there, hovering. Yeah, you're able to hold the creature's jaw at bay with one of your own claws, so it's trying to snap at you, but you've got its maw like in your hands. Who do you want to pass your turn off to?
Frankie, I think.
All right, Frankie, it's your turn.
At this point, I'm definitely really terrified of everything that's going on, and I'm hiding behind a desk. So all I can think of doing is just, in order to help, because I don't want to get in anywhere even close to this thing, is just popping up, throwing a knife, like probably even like half covering my hands so I don't see what happens, and then ducking back behind the desk.
Roll me a tough check.
Okay.
It sticks into Vilma's back for 1 harm.
I'm sorry.
But she's going back into hiding afterwards.
Oh yeah, I'm shouting, "I'm sorry" from hiding.
Vilma, how do you react to being knifed in the back?
It actually happened.
Literally stabbed in the back.
Like I just did. Just how much harm do I take?
Just 1, I think, right? It's a throwing knife, right?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So Frankie, who do you pass your turn on?
Why?
I think it's only Nora who hasn't gone this turn.
Oh yeah, that's correct. It's just Nora left. So Nora, then, if we're at the end of round 2, you can tell me what you want to do in a second. But first, I need you to make me a sharp check.
Okie doke. All right.
And you're also kind of in hiding, right?
Yeah, I was like knelt down.
With a 7, you hear something else from the hall on the other side, coming from the direction of the office.
I would like to
Not sure
use
what it
one
is.
of my hold two, if possible, that I still
Okay.
have left.
Oh yeah.
What does the monster want from this person? And I want to direct it to the monster that is in the office, if I can.
The one that Rutherford's on top of.
No, the one that I slightly heard coming out of my peripheral.
Great. So with your connect the dots, you feel like you're not sure if this creature has anything to do with that film reel you saw, but something in your gut says that it does somehow. And you've done enough research. You've gone through Babelfish and various sources before, and you know of Native American legends of the Wendigo creature that is a cannibalism spirit, the sort of creature that infected people who would travel across the country during the gold rush and other times. And it was blamed a lot for acts of cannibalism in harsh conditions in winters, but it was also sometimes attributed to madness and insanity. And you get the feeling in your gut, it's your journalistic instinct, that there's more of these things. You don't know how many more, but that there's more of them here.
Is there a way that I can very quickly either consult Father Sloane's grimoire that he gifted to me, or either write in it about just like sketch very quickly either what it looks like or what I think it's about? Can I either do one of the two based on what might be already in it?
I'll let you do both. And if you want to use your last hold to ask one more question, we'll approach it that way.
Let's use, how does this mystery connect to the bigger picture?
You realize that with Celeste here, with Rutherford here, with Sloane here, that whatever this Randall Flagg figure is that they've been speaking about, that you've heard people talk about, you would know at this point that he's the figure that lives in Las Vegas, that runs Las Vegas. He's the one who Father Sloane and the people who stayed behind in Boulder, they didn't want to be involved with him. You feel like if he brought everyone here, if he's behind all of this somehow, that he must have done so for a reason, and it probably has to do with either Celeste and or Rutherford.
Okay. With that, I want to yell out mostly in regards to Vilma and Frankie. I want to just kind of scream, we must protect the other two at all costs. Because I think I'm in the other room at this point, either or like away from them, trying to do all of this.
Let's say the action's on the west side of the room, and the hall. There's an east hall, and you're like near the east hall of the
Okay,
room.
so I want to convey that to them, and then I'm going to pass my initiative to. Ooh. Let's do Vilma.
Yes, to what?
We are entering now what I will call the final round of this encounter. So whatever decisions we make going forward, just know that there's a little extra gravitas. Vilma, it's your turn. You still have this beast held with your whip. It's around one of his arms. You're one of three people who's kind of keeping it held down right now.
Does it look like we've done any considerable amount of harm to this thing, or is it just kind of taking all this injury and not?
It seemed like it was taking a lot of it in stride, but right now Rutherford is ripping parts of its hide out of its body and like chewing it like viciously, like a beast.
Okay, well that can't be good. I'm gonna try and just like rip the sword off of it and maybe try to sever that limb.
Absolutely. And give me another tough check.
14.
That is good. That is good. Oh man.
Yes.
I would be remiss if I did not use one of my rerolls on your perfect roll. I have two of them left.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll it again.
No.
I like that a little bit better. That's a success with a consequence, which I can get behind.
I'm gonna
So
use
you
my
do.
reroll.
Oh,
Yes.
all right. That I love that. That's perfect. So you feel your razor whip get tighter and tighter around its hand, and you rip off this creature's one of its limbs. Its claw flips out away from your whip and smashes against the desk nearby of the lobby, and the creature howls in pain. You'll do +1 harm for this. So how much harm does that make it? 4. This creature, whether it's alive or dead, it does bleed. Bleeds black, but it bleeds. And at this point, it's still thrashing against the ground, fighting against the others, but with a full success, we'll say that it doesn't attack back or escape. What does Vilma do afterwards?
Have I heard the approach of the other creature?
Roll me a sharp check.
Nope.
Nope.
So I will just prepare to finish it off, I guess. Just make sure it can't lash back at all.
Who do you pass your turn off to?
I will pass my turn off to Celeste again.
All right, Celeste, it's your turn.
Do I see my brother going basically rampant on the Wendigo?
Yeah, you're both on top of this thing, but if you were vicious, Rutherford's taking it a couple of steps further.
I think I know he's taking fun pills. Could I basically slap Rutherford to get him out of whatever state he is to focus back on
Try
not
to
going full animal?
see. Yeah, do you have a move? If not, I'll ask you to. Are you literally slapping him, or are you trying something different?
Well, the idea is to get him focused on me, or just to get out of there, and at least if I can pursue him or anything to focus on me, I should at least have a +1, since he definitely is a werewolf, and I know my ways around that. So the idea is like, focus on me.
roll me a charm +1.
Okay.
You gonna let that stand?
I still don't know. I have a reroll. Let's try it. Let's see if it's worth it or not. Probably not. It stays.
You get his attention. Whose turn do you turn it over to?
I would go to Rutherford next, basically.
So with the negative consequence, you get his attention. Rutherford, you still have this creature in your mouth, part of it. You're tearing off. It's still fighting, but it's fighting a little weaker now. And you see Celeste there pulling your attention, trying to get you to focus on her. For a moment, though, you don't see your sister. You just see the throbbing, pulsing of the vein in her neck. You can hear, your senses heightened, the beating of her heart, thanks to the lithium. I'll let you do whatever you'd like to do, but I do want you to roll me a cool check.
I was about to ask if there was a check coming. I'm gonna add a d6 to that.
All right.
I'm gonna...
Can I?
Go on.
I was gonna say, can I offer you my other D6 that I have?
I think we can stack them. Yeah, Don's cool with it. We're cool with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Go ahead.
A mild success.
Okay. It's something.
That's a 9. I'll let you interpret that however you like. What do you want to do with your turn?
So I think the success part is that he realizes it's Celeste. Though he's never looked at Celeste as though she was a tasty snack before. He remembers he was supposed to be carrying something somewhere. Someone somewhere. So I think Rutherford will grab Celeste and try and flee with her.
Okay. Roll me a tough check.
That I can do.
And Celeste, do you resist him grabbing you and trying to pull you off of the creature and run with you?
No, I would probably support that if I even can.
I'm gonna use a reroll on that.
All right. Is this your last reroll? It is.
Second to last. Second to last.
Second to last. Okay.
There we go.
That's much better. Yes, you pull Celeste up off of the creature, throw her over your shoulder. You can feel the heat of the blood dripping out of your mouth, the blood that's not yours, as you rush away from this creature who's already starting to scramble back up to its feet, a little slower now. You're running for what, the front door or the opposite hall?
I think possibly the front door. This was a bad plan. Everything's spooky in here.
All right. There's nothing in your way. You're able to get to the front door and swing it open. You can see the full moon above. It's changed color. It was a bright, typical full moon, but now it's larger. It's a harvest moon. There's something orange, a little red to it. And you can feel the wind on your face, the howling of the outdoors, the Rocky Mountain air.
I think there's only one reaction to that, and that's to howl along with it. I think Rutherford's gonna let out his first howl.
As Rutherford howls at the moon, we have Jackie and Nora still who've not had turns. They each have one more as well. Who do you pass it off to next?
Nora.
Okay.
You've managed to scribble down that picture into the grimoire as well. You just finished it.
Cool. With that, I'm going to yell out to both Frankie and Vilma. And as I'm yelling out to them, I'm going to take out the keys from my backpack and say, it's like scream, it's time to get out of here. Make your way to the car. We got to go. And I'm just going to book it. I'm going to book it out the front door.
Roll me a sharp check and then roll me a tough check.
Okay. Okay.
You glance behind you once as you shout out, and you can see now 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets of yellow eyes getting bigger down the hall. You can hear things smashing into walls nearby. You know that there's a number of these creatures coming up behind you. You rush out the front door. You still have the keys to the car, right?
Yeah, I do. They were in my backpack, and I'm pulling them out as I run to it.
All right, so you're out the front door. You blow past Rutherford and Celeste because Rutherford has taken a moment to howl. And you're running towards the car?
I am. 100%.
So Frankie.
I was gonna say, pass it on to Frankie.
Frankie, the creature that is now missing a hand and is badly wounded is standing up to its feet. It's shambling along the ground, but it's shambling towards you and where you are now. You can hear the other creatures coming up the hall behind you as well now, too. You and Vilma are still inside.
How far away is Vilma from me, and how far away is the injured creature from me?
The injured creature would have to go through Vilma to get to you, but it seems like it's heading towards you, not Vilma. Its eyes are on you.
Okay, I'm just gonna shout, Vilma, let's go. Forget this, let's go, and spin on my heel and run right out the front door.
All right. Roll me a cool check and a tough check.
Okay. Okay.
You start running to the door, even as this creature lashes out. You've focused, you're breathing right, you're not panicking as much as you could be, and Vilma is in the way, but this creature is jointed twice, and it wraps its second joint around Vilma and stretches its long claws. It rakes into your back for 3 harm, but because you managed to get a 7 instead of a 6, it hits you in the back instead of the front and pushes you towards the door. But you feel like you've just been hit with a sledgehammer, and you know that you're bleeding.
And I'm definitely gonna just cry out in pain when that happens, because I can't think of a time where I've ever been this hurt in my life before.
You do manage to stumble after being hit to the front door, and you reach Rutherford and Celeste there. Roll me a sharp check. You stop for a moment just to catch your breath, because you need to before you step out into the cold night air. And you happen to look back over your shoulder, and you see laying there on the ground of the lobby, unconscious man, Virgil.
I don't think that I can, in my good conscience, leave Virgil behind. I want to grab him and drag him out, but kind of just like a fireman drag, like grab his wrists and just pull him on his back, because I don't think I'm strong enough to like hoist him over my shoulder or anything.
All right. And as we are getting to the end of things for today, let's go back to Vilma for a second. Vilma, what are you doing in this moment? You see Frankie get to the door. She's hit. She stops, looks back, and she goes over, stumbles over, grabs Virgil's ankles and is pulling him along the ground. You can hear these things coming up from the other hall, and this other creature, badly wounded, is still right in front of you.
So I'm aware of the other ones now?
You can hear them now.
Okay.
They're going to be out here in a moment.
Like, we can stay and finish this off, but not if there's more that will take this much to kill around. So Vilma is going to use her ridiculous, like, fluid grace and just kind of try to disengage. She's going to try and run past, kind of scoop Frankie under an arm and wrap her prehensile tail around Virgil.
And try to help her out and him out at the same time. Rutherford and Celeste at the front door. After Rutherford takes a second to howl at the moon, you hear Frankie's yell. You can see them grabbing Virgil and trying to pull him out. And as these other creatures are spilling into the room, what does Rutherford and Celeste do?
Did you set me down before you started howling, or am I still hanging over your shoulder?
I didn't consciously make an effort to. Everything's a bit confusing right now. The full moon's difficult for, the full moon's difficult for Rutherford anyway. And, high as fuck, it's gonna be, even more difficult.
I then would yell, let me down, and try to get off his shoulder, because I would run back to the others trying to help.
I'll drop you.
All right. And what's Rutherford doing?
I'll
You do have Nora getting into the car, trying to get the car door open to get the car started.
Well, I mean, I want to be helpful somewhere. I'm a bit confused about everything, so you say Nora's struggling with the car door? I'll just go and rip the car door off.
Right. So Nora now, with Rutherford's help, extreme though it may be, what's her goal here? What's her plan?
I want to try to start the car and see if I can at least move it any sort of closer to the building so whoever is in the building can rush out and immediately just file in and we can peel off.
And let me ask you this. If it's not people that come out of the building, or if it's a mix of people and other things that come out of the building, what would Nora do?
She would absolutely wait until the last possible second to see if those who came out that were actual people could file in. If not, she's got to peel off.
Everyone make me a cool check.
Oh, wow.
I want to use my last reroll.
Okay.
My last one.
If anybody else wants to use a reroll.
Oh no.
I'm still not seeing all the things, but I would say Frankie gets a reroll from me.
Okay. So Frankie, you can reroll. Is anyone else gifting or using a reroll?
No need.
I have none left.
I'm also.
Rutherford, you used your last reroll?
Yeah, I have. We've got through a lot of rerolls today.
Yes, we have.
Thanks for those.
So because I have one left.
No.
Who do I want to use it against? I'm gonna use it. Nora has a 6 already.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it against Vilma.
Oh.
7.
Oh, that beautiful 11. No.
Vilma, Frankie, and Celeste, you all go inside, and the three of you are able to pull Virgil out. Even as these creatures are spilling towards you. Wait, what just happened? These creatures are spilling towards you. It's 5 of them. One of them heavily wounded. The other is not quite as large, but still large. And they all leap through the air. They are fast. They're faster than a human being. They're faster than Rutherford. And they're strong. One of them takes the desk of the lobby and throws it across the room. It smashes through the door and through the wall, knocking part of it down. You do all have Virgil, but none of you are safe. And unfortunately, Nora, you struggle to get the car started. The key's not turning, something's not working. And you all have to make a choice right now. Who is going to run for the car? Or are the 3 of you staying together?
I'm staying with Virgil.
I am too.
Like, I'm gonna try and run with him. I've got +2 tough, pretty strong.
All right. So since
+1 for my tail, so.
So since we have, I'll give you. So since we have Vilma and Celeste on their feet, and Frankie and Virgil are being held or pulled along by the tail or arm, give me a tough check, both of you. And give me another cool check, Nora. All right. And
Should
we're
I roll?
Oh yeah,
Tough?
Celeste. Yeah, go ahead. Roll me a tough as well.
And I have a re-roll still. Do I see that right?
You do. You have
The
the. I
only
think
one.
you're the last. You're the last one.
Let's see how it turns out. I will use a re-roll.
All right, go ahead and take it. This is our last roll of this session. Oh,
Sorry.
Nora, you get the car started. It takes a couple of times. Rutherford, you're inside the car with Nora, and finally you speed towards the front door of the asylum. You spin even as they're coming out. It's Celeste, right, Rutherford, right as you guys are all pulling up and everybody's running outside. Celeste is hanging back and she's swiped by one of the creatures for 3 harm. Armor protects you somewhat. Vilma and Jackie, or Frankie, you're both coming through the front door. You're almost to the car when one of the creatures wraps its arms around Virgil. And unless you let him go, you know you're going to be dragged back with it. Do you let him go?
I would argue that I don't have the option as my tail is wrapped around him. So it's grabbing my tail around him.
Well, you could pull against it. You could try to fight it.
Can I try and slice its hand off?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Jackie, what are you doing right now? Are you, you see its claws?
Oh no! My luck's run out.
You see its claws pull into Virgil, and it's trying to rip the man out of Velma's grip.
I'm going to stab it in the hand and use a luck point on that move.
Yes.
Yes.
I was waiting
I
for
forgot
that.
those were a thing. I have 2 of those left.
And so with a luck point, you stab it in the hand, it releases Virgil, and you're all able to get the car door open and get into it. Vilma, it tears your tail off.
I just got that.
Oh no!
But you are able to pull Virgil into the car as well. And Nora, do you immediately speed away? Already 2 of these creatures are out of the front door.
Wait, just to recap, Vilma, Virgil, and Frankie are in my car, right?
And Rutherford and Celeste is climbing into the car last.
I think.
Yeah, as soon as I climb into the car, I'm gonna speed off.
I think
Rutherford?
Rutherford might have hung back to throw himself into immediate danger without hedging his bets to give everyone a chance to get away. You said they're faster than him, right?
They are faster than him.
Well, he knows that he can keep up with a moving car. So he'll hang back and fight them off. He'll just shout run and
Yeah, I take off. Whoever is in my car, and as soon as the door shuts, I take off.
Celeste wouldn't get in a car if Rutherford is not there. So she would help to shove Virgil in there and join and go and turn around and see what happens.
Nora, you speed off and leave the both of them behind?
Yep.
The car hits a curb and almost stops after it slams its wheels into the ground afterwards, and then it picks up again, and you're driving away from the asylum. Rutherford, you step out in front of Celeste and throw yourself at these creatures, which is good because Celeste failed her tough roll and was about to be pulled out of the car anyways, but you knocked the creature off of her. We won't see what happens to you guys this week. The car speeds away, leaving behind Celeste and Rutherford and the Wendigo. The wind howls. You can see that same in through the rear view mirror, Nora and Frankie, Vilma. that light still on from the office, the doctor's office, the only light left in the asylum. And then you turn a corner, the road pulls into some woods, and you cannot see the Rocky Mountain Insane Asylum anymore. That is where we will end this week's episode.
Oh.
What a game!
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Every time. Every time.
So, and I'll tell you this before we go around and do outros for everyone. I always do a thing, and I'll do this through private chat. It'll be a prompt, a writing prompt. I'll put it actually into the group chat that we had going on before this game started, so that you guys will have the ability to weigh in on what happens next to your character, and so that I can kind of take that and pull that into the story moving forward. So it's always a sad thing. I love every character so much, and we don't get to see some of the characters come back, but I love the impact they each make in the story. And then I love the ability to have one last way to kind of influence the story moving forward. So we'll definitely do that and pull it in moving forward. I love this episode. I really like these characters a lot. But I want to go around now and say goodbye. Let everybody say, decompress however you felt about the episode, what you have going on, if you're doing anything else that's particularly cool, where we can find you online. And let's go ahead and start off with Talon.
I am Talon Wycliffe on Twitter, or at Talon Wycliffe. Also on Instagram and Facebook is that. I have a YouTube that I haven't done anything with, and a Twitch, all under the same name. I stream Warframe sometimes. I intend to do stuff with all of that. Very active on Twitter, because that's really easy to be active on. And I had a lot of fun. This was great. I want to do a lot more of this. This is actually what I would like to be doing, is just playing role-playing games online with as many people as possible.
Mood though.
Did you have any questions about Vilma? I don't.
I thought she was great. Yeah. We didn't get to explore, like her demon versus God thing that much, but I felt like it flavored her choices throughout. I thought she was a really unique take on the divine. We've had a number of divine, and they've all been different, which I love. And that's one of the things I like about the system so much, is that it kind of allows you to decide for yourself what these playbooks are going to be and what they're going to look like. Yeah. So I really felt like the way that she stuck up for other people and the choices that she made were flavored heavily by her beef with God and with the powers that be, and I really appreciated that.
I mean, like, for how she affects the story.
Afterwards, yeah. So what I'll do, because I like to keep it kind of a secret for the audience until it comes up again. Sometimes next episode, sometimes several times. But I'll put it into. We have a not to tell the audience too much, but we have a secret private chat that we have for all these games, and I always put the prompts into that chat so you guys can think of a response, take your time, and really decide what you want to say to me before.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I love playing with you. I hope I get to play with you again. Let's go over and say goodbye to Tracy.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'd never actually played Monster of the Week before. This is my first time playing it at all. I mean, I've played Powered by the Apocalypse games, but I hadn't played Monster of the Week, and I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed how spooky and scary it was. As for me, if you're interested in me, I'm on a podcast called The Broadswords. We're an all-woman D&D 5e. Nope, that's not it. D&D 5e actual play podcast. I play the character Keela on there, and so you can find us anywhere at The Broadswords. If you want to follow me personally on Twitter, I'm at Tracy Soar, like the dinosaur.
Awesome. And thank you for playing a mundane. It really is my favorite playbook, and I feel like having a mundane in every, like if I had my choice, we would always have one mundane in every episode we do, because like you need that person. They add so much flavor, and I think by far my favorite design of Monster of the Week is how they designed the mundane playbook. I think it's really, really clever.
I'm really glad I chose the mundane.
It was a blast playing with you again. I hope I get to play with you again as well. But let's go over and say goodbye next, I guess, to Nora and to Ray.
Yeah, so I am with a brick on pretty much every social media I can think of. You should stay tuned. I think I will have a cool announcement to make with Scratticus shortly. And besides that, definitely check out the Broadswords. I've been slowly but surely working my way into the podcast. So Tracy's awesome, and that whole podcast is really great. Yeah, so it was great to play and come back as a reoccurring character. That was really, really fun. I literally, since the first time played with Don and in this Monster of the Week system, have been thinking about that game very often and very frequently. And coming back and being able to play and expand upon Nora was a lot of fun. So I thank you and Scratticus both for having me back. And definitely check out everything that everyone has going on. Everybody here has been so much fun to play with and a great company to keep. So I'm very stoked on it. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great to have Nora back again. I liked a couple of things. I liked the fact that we didn't really find out what happened with Father Sloan. It was left vague. I like lack of resolution in stories. I think it can be really, really powerful. And sometimes the dice make that possible and sometimes it doesn't, but I liked that ended up vague. And I also, I liked a lot of the scenes in this, but there's something so classic horror about that scene in the hallway, the way that you guys played, the way that Nora and Frankie played running away in the hallway to get to the rest of the group. That is just such a classic scene. And I really enjoyed that too. But let's go over and say hi to Vicky. Hi, Vicky. How are you doing today? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Don't be sorry. It was wonderful to be back in the game. It was horrible to watch last week's game. Like, oh no, I'm not there. I can't join it. Thank you, ladies, for joining. It was amazing. I loved all your characters. It was really nice to have Nora back. And at least I'm quite happy that you ladies are in the car and driving away, which makes at least a little hope that Nora survives another session. And you others as well. I loved the whole game. Please never give Don that many rerolls again.
Counter argument. Please do.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
Oh my god, that was madness today. And yeah, let's see if we have to get new characters for next week. That will be then to be decided.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be. It was perfect game. It was really perfect. I loved every single bit of it. Oh, and you can find me on Twitter on cutie_v as usual. And I'll see you guys next week.
I really didn't expect you guys to stay behind at the Asylum at the end. I love that you did, because that gives me, I can spend more time on the Asylum, which I love. What a great setting. So we'll deal with that next week. But for myself, before I pass it over to Scrat, I'm Jonathan Fry. I play games online. Tomes and Tentacles podcast. We just recorded our first episode of the new season. It's a brand new story with a great novelist, Ben Counter. That's my Call of Cthulhu podcast. It's very spooky. I love horror, and that's one of my favorite things going on right now. You can follow @TentaclesPod on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see all my other stuff, the streams that I do. And if you have a Wednesday night free at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I have a dark fantasy, it's Dragonlands campaign that I run that is sort of my baby right now, and that's been going on for a while. But other than that, I'm always happy to be here. Every single week I get to play with great people, tell great stories, and I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm sad that it's over every single week, but I'm very happy that we got to do it. So that's me. I will pass it off to Scrat.
Oh, hi everyone. Thank you for a fantastic game. Not sure what my favorite part was. I definitely enjoyed Frankie and Nora talking about Spider-Man and stuff whilst all the spooky shit's going on. That was I liked the juxtaposition. I'm always a fan of juxtaposition. Hildy, stop shredding everything. Who let you in here? I'm going to get my bot to spam you with a whole bunch of links. Please go and check them out. It's all our social links, all the different ways you can support us, all of our sponsor information, all of the places you can find discounts using our codes online. Please do go and check them all out. Each and every single one is a way you can support us, and we appreciate you taking the time. Also, thank you very much to Mage Hand Press and Bird in the Storm Publishing who make the stream possible. Today, we are going to head over to Dice Ministry, who are just chatting, and we are going to go and chill with them. They are another stream group. They play around the table, like IRL around the table, not virtual around the table. So still D&D, a little bit different, but they're good fun. Thank you very much, everyone. We will be back in around an hour and a half with Mists of Sire, our Eberron campaign. I won't be personally, but Alice will with the Eberron crew, and we look forward to seeing you then. Till then, keep on evoking emotions, and we'll see you later on. Bye!
Bye. Bye. Wait, there we go. Bye.